Good evening, everyone. Welcome to People Without Pants. Tonight, we are going to make fun of Harry Potter fans. We are going to make fun of Big Bang Theory fans. And we are going to talk about Star Trek Voyager. And Nick is going to make fun of me.
So I feel like that is always the case. Now, folks, I have not been prepped of Larry's interest for tonight, but I do want to take a fucking swing at the bat because if there's one thing I love doing, it's keeping up to date with reasons you should hate Harry Potter fans.
Of which there are
It's
many.
of which there are many, but of which there is a new one.
I assume you've heard.
Yes, folks, this just in. So it's kind of relevant because the Odyssey just came out, but no. That's not the important part, Larry.
Oh, are you talking about Nicholas Holt?
No. Where is it going?
Harry Potter?
Oh, no. Okay, so allow me to explain. Folks, let me run you through a quick timeline. Step one, we're going to introduce a nice undersea cable that is going to efficiently transfer power amongst places that maybe shouldn't be united, but that's a different question. But that being said, I believe it's from Ireland to England, correct?
Oh, I think it's among others. Yeah, let me check to make sure.
Yeah, just because
Yeah,
like
it
this
is.
cable. Yeah, so complicated, but
I forgot about that part.
there is that part. So like, listen, the Irish in me has to start there, where complicated,
And
but
unfortunately, Star Trek's prediction of it reunifying in 2024 did not come true.
remember, folks, there is no Northern Ireland. There is only the north of Ireland.
That is
But
true. There's Orange Ireland and there's real Ireland.
there's just Ireland. Whether it's being controlled is a different question. But there's Ireland.
Yeah.
Like that's one of those things I'll stand on. But anyways, to move aside from Irish patriotism for a minute, we got a cable that will transfer power efficiently between England and Ireland, and that's cool for like power reasons. But where this line happened to be planned to go, now this is really funny, is a fiction in the Harry Potter universe is the fictional gravesite for Dobby the elf. You guys might remember Dobby the elf as being a slave who we didn't really care about slavery except when it affected Dobby.
Yeah, it was literally canonically confirmed that Dobby is the weird one amongst the house elves for not wanting to be a slave.
Because all the slaves want to be slaves. That is a race trait they have. Do not
Yeah.
forget that. Fuck you, JK.
Yeah, which, by the way, race traits on their own are troublesome enough in fiction.
Oh, I mean, fantasy race traits are cool when they're fantasy races that are not based on real things. I
Yeah.
don't fucking care for anyone who wants to be apologetic and be like, oh, she didn't know what she was doing. Look across England at the amount of Judensau that are in the churches. You are literally impacted by this folklore growing up there. Don't fucking like try to half-ass it. It just is what it is. That is a Jewish stereotype when you look at that fucking goblin in the bank, so it's problematic.
And it
It's
literally had a
problematic.
Star of David on the fucking floor, the bank they shot it in and everything.
Well, that was coincidental, but
True,
really
but they
fun.
let it be shown on screen.
They did, and no one was like, this feels out of place. They felt like it belonged there, which say about that what you will. Now, house elves are a different kind of fun little slave race. But they literally enjoy being slaves, and Dobby, the one guy, doesn't like being a slave.
And
So,
only because his master's an asshole to him.
yeah, because remember, folks, if you have a good slave master, everything's all good, according to JK. So,
Other than the epilogue, wasn't the literal last line of the Deathly Hallows book Harry wondering if his fucking house elf would make him a sandwich?
yes.
Okay, I wanted to make sure I remembered that correctly.
Or I don't know if it's the Deathly Hallows book, but one of the books.
I think it was Deathly Hallows.
Because like I didn't read them, I get bits and pieces of that, and like the I like read the parts that are important. We'll say, yeah,
Yeah.
bro, Hermione is a fucking random person doing a campaign for house elves. Not because it matters, but because she just campaigns for random shit, and she also sees herself as an outcast.
Yeah, they
Noted.
treated her like a fucking soapbox Sadie for like being anti-chattel slavery.
Literally, like, bro, know the difference. That is not like writing anti-chattel slavery. That is, if anything, writing pro-chattel slavery propaganda. But anyways,
Yeah.
because I don't want to get too far off. So they go, and after Dobby dies in Harry Potter's universe, they build a fucking grave. Now, in real life, in the world you and I live in, this is private land that has been
It's a
repeatedly
protected beach. I actually just found that out a minute ago.
It's a protected beach that has repeatedly asked people to stop fucking around with it, but
And
they keep leaving
instead,
rocks
these
and taking stuff.
these fucking goddamn children, some of
Oh
them
my god,
literally, they've done this to it.
these are adults taking fucking like goddamn pilgrimages.
Yeah.
These are
Now,
grown
guys, I
adults.
don't know if you're aware. Dobby's not a real person.
Guys, I don't know if you're aware. Even if he was a real person, your literature's dog shit, and you should maybe read a real book.
Yeah, like morally, as far as Harry Potter goes, he's a half decent character. And the way he was played in the movie, I thought was cool. Whoever that actor was did a good job. But like, he is just a fucking elf from a book.
Literally, the only praise I have for the actor is that he found an accent to use that wasn't a black accent, and I don't know that I like that. So
That's for the Toby Jones. That explains why he was good. I didn't actually remember who played him.
Toby Jones.
Yeah, this guy.
Who's that? I don't know who that is.
I always think of him from goddamn Captain America, but yeah, he's in all this shit that they're listing here.
Yeesh. So he's Dobby and he's in Tintin. All right, the guy just like racism, bro.
Hey, come on, this was modern Tintin. You're thinking of old Tintin.
All Tintin's associated with Tintin, and Tintin goes to islands full of tribal people and does problematic shit. So
Yeah, there's a reason that it's hard to find reprints of Tintin in the Congo.
I mean, where's Tintin from?
Belgium.
Yeah. Do I really need to say more about Tintin?
Yeah. I mean, to
Don't
be
forget
fair,
that
it's,
motherfucker. Bro, Belgium is like Hall of Famers for colonization. Do you know how small they are compared to what they pulled off? England had a giant fucking island, but like Belgium was really batting with, we're just gonna take your shit and move with it.
and it
Like,
worked apparently for a few centuries.
fuck you, Leopold. Like that shit was terrible, dude. Like, I mean, granted, it's Leopold II, but his dad can go fuck himself too, so who cares?
Yeah. Kings in general can be safely thrown on the fuck you pile.
There's like a couple exceptions to the rule, but it's not
Yeah.
like the rule exists, and then like Charlemagne can prance his ass out, and we'll be like, all right, maybe Charlemagne can stay. Literal fictional king of Francia, Charlemagne.
And also Martin Luther King. He's fine too.
Also, Martin Luther minus the king.
Yeah, true.
Too. All
It's-
Martin Luthers are grandfathered into the king rule.
It's Martin Luther Day. That's a very smart joke.
Yo, listen, I wanted to say a Martin Luther joke. I think I nailed it.
I was trying to predict what the punchline was going to be, and I thought too hard on it. I thought the punchline was going to be like, yeah, he wrote like 95 different problems he had with his fucking birthday, and
if you having church problems, I feel bad for you, son. I got 95 problems, and the Catholics one hit me. Honestly, that could work. I'm just saying, someone. But
yeah.
so,
Anyway, Harry Potter fans are being a bunch of children and polluting this beach with their bullshit.
well, and people have asked them multiple times not to, and I'll
And
be
they keep
real,
doing it.
this is not like the house from Breaking Bad, where it's a guy's house. And I do think that's kind of funny, throwing a pizza on this one guy's house because he chooses to live there. But like, this is a whole ass beach. This
Yeah.
is nature.
It's
We could,
literally like a nature preserve, isn't it?
yeah, like I don't know. We gotta take a little bit for perspective. So upon a bunch of Harry Potter adults realizing, oh, this proposed wire, or we'll call it, is gonna go through fictional Dobby's grave. They essentially pulled a Scientology playbook and harassed these motherfuckers until they stopped and did what they wanted.
Yeah, they had to read. How much did it cost? 580 million. Yeah, 580 million dollar fucking power cable was rerouted to spare a fictional character's not real grave.
Now, there's one other part of this, actually. It's very important that this article neglects to bring up, and I feel like undermines the immorality of this.
What's that?
So the planners, or rather, like, so like the like people making this wire hired new planners to like find a new spot. They did find a new spot that goes through a Bronze Age gravesite
For real people.
of real people
Yeah.
from the Bronze Age
Who aren't CGI goblins from movies.
who are like historical people from like the most ancient period of humanity that we know.
I have two questions about Dobby's outfit.
Yeah, what's up?
First of all, why does he still wear it after being freed?
They'll tell you it's something about his character and he identifies with it, but the answer is because they have no other real way to define this motherfucker other than looking like a poor, like, orphan ass bitch.
The other possible answer is just simply they only made the one CGI model and they wanted to keep the updates to it to a minimum, which, fair enough. My other question, and this could just be a cultural difference, but in America, when slave owners had what?
I heard America, so I had to follow up.
Oh, yeah. So in the United States, when slave owners had a slave who part of their job duties was to interact with other people, like guests and such, they usually had said slave dressed up all nice. Right? Makes sense.
It was notable that there were exceptions to this because some people were depraved.
Well,
But
of course, but like, yeah,
you
I'm
might
not talking.
argue the social graces would be to put your best foot forward. Okay, I'm gonna put it in the way that I have to actually put it in instead of us dancing around this. Right now, in your life, if I was gonna come to your house, what would be your first thing you do?
That I would do?
Yeah,
Like,
if
wipe my
anyone comes
ass?
to
I
your
don't
house.
know.
Well, if you're expecting guests, what do?
Clean the house a little.
You clean your house.
Yeah.
Now, like, say you're trying to impress people. You know, there's that saying that you put out the fancy china.
Yeah.
I really need to remind people that slaves are not considered human beings by their owners.
They're considered China, if that.
You put out the good ones.
Yeah.
You like put out the fancy shit. You put out the appealing to your own weird sense of aestheticism. Looking slaves.
Yeah, so and obviously, to be clear, just in case it wasn't, we think slavery is bad here at People Without Pants. We think it was a bad thing for the human race.
I don't think that we feel that way. We feel that it is a bad thing for the human race. Looking at you, Dubai.
Oh, yeah, when I say was, I'm talking about American chattel slavery.
Non-prison oriented.
Yeah. No, chattel, not like not the wishy-washy bullshit we do now where we make things up.
Chattel again?
I don't remember the exact definition.
At a certain point with the prison system.
True. Anyway, my point is, why the fuck does Lucius Malfoy have his house slave who accompanies him to business stuff wearing rags?
Specifically because he's the depraved kind of slave master I mentioned.
True. Also, I mean, this is just to justify that aesthetic, but wasn't there something about how, like, if you give a slave clothes, you free him or whatever? Because they do the sock thing at the end.
Yeah, you can't give them clothes, but like, I'll be real with you folks. You can give them money and make them buy clothes, and like there's 20 loopholes. I get right around this stupid fucking bit.
You could also, there's the even simpler loophole of don't have the protagonists of your movie have chattel slaves. Like, at least when they did it with Lucius Malfoy, they were doing it to show what an asshole he is. But then, like, later on, the protagonists have them too.
But I don't think like a slave should be used to show a certain person's bad. Because slavery's bad, and we should just question why our characters aren't on that fucking tip.
Yeah. It is a good question, isn't it?
I mean, listen, it's almost like Harry Potter has the same amount of slave care as Ready Player One, but everyone just nostalgia glasses forgets about that.
I'd actually say less, because at least in Ready Player One, the hero is exposed to the slavery and immediately says, I'm putting a stop to this the second I can. Harry Potter makes no such proclamation.
To be fair, the protagonist does that when he experiences the slavery. He knew it was a thing already and just kind of would put that shit in the back of his mind until it was relevant to his life.
Wasn't it like, I might be remembering wrong, but wasn't it an unconfirmed rumor before he was there? Or am I just being too nice?
I feel like you're being too nice on this. I mean, unconfirmed rumor is one of those, like, they can't legally get caught, I think was the point.
Yeah, because I thought I remembered him saying something about, like, oh, rumor has it they even have people as indentured servants or something. But maybe I'm remembering. Anyway, either way,
because like he also has more experiences with the company.
Yeah, like either way, at least in Ready Player One, by the end of the first book, the protagonist is like, slavery is bad and I intend to stop it the second I can. Harry Potter doesn't say that.
Why is I don't want to put that shitty dude above anything, but I think you might be right.
Actually, in Harry Potter, I forget if the book said this or if this was one of Rowling's many fucking post end of series canon additions via Twitter, but I thought she eventually noticed the problem and threw in a line, oh, and don't worry, thanks to Hermione's efforts, house slavery was banned.
I think she epilogued that, but
yeah, I think that was it was either in the epilogue of the book or added via the internet later.
See, but I thought the internet ones don't count because she wanted to retcon her entire romance.
Well, she didn't like declare that canon. She was just kind of like, in hindsight, maybe I should have written it differently. Like, she didn't actually want to retcon it. She just said, like, oh, if I'd written that today, I might have done it differently.
Dog, if you were writing it good, you would have fucking put him with one of these exchange students from the Goblet of Fire, or for the goddamn Goblet of Fire, God forbid. Then you could.
Which is also it's funny she said that too, because I don't love Harry Potter. I never really did, but one of the things I liked about the last one was that she didn't make the cliche choice and have the male hero get together with his female best friend.
I mean, it's interesting that she essentially looked at it from like, well, Hermione would be more into Harry than Ron, and not from I don't think the chosen one's into you, ass girl.
Yeah, it is. It's telling that she. Hang on, got a comment. I like that too. Yeah, at the time I was like, oh, thank God, because I was worried that she would end it with Harry and Hermione getting together, because that's like the really easy way to do it.
But no.
I don't mind Ron and Hermione together, but I also wouldn't have minded if none of the three had gotten with each other and they all just found. Also, why'd they all marry someone they met when they were like 12?
I mean, if you want my take on it, I don't think she knows how to write romance. And it feels like a minor case of the Stephanie Myers, where like your problematic upbringing is showing through in how you express romances to be developed. And like,
Come to think of it, yeah, she does tolerate from her characters a lot of really shitty behavior.
I mean, I don't know. If you ask me, and like obviously we're just rewriting the series at this point, but like you could have just had the kids fool around and then realize that wasn't the bit and move on and have them like, I don't know, like address their youth and like be people but also not fucking camp them where they have to be in like, well, they kissed, so they're married now. Like, I don't know.
That reminds me, I never read, I read the first, I think, 3 books, and then I kind of, for whatever reason, got onto something else when I was a kid. But I've seen all the movies. So I don't know if this was in the book, but in the 4th movie, when they have the big like Yule ball or whatever,
Yeah.
at the end of it, everyone's all depressed because everyone's night goes wrong, except for Neville. Neville shows up at the end, like having had the best night of his life, and like he's all disheveled and shit, like he just had to get redressed, and his date was fucking Ginny. I'm like, did Neville fuck Ron's 13-year-old sister?
I mean, didn't another person like walk in also disheveled?
Maybe, but that was someone older, or at least someone who had an older date.
I mean, I assume Neville just steals someone's bitch.
Yeah, I mean, Neville is only like 14, so a romance between him and a 13-year-old isn't like disgusting, but it is very odd to imply that they got sexual.
I mean, it's not weird. I think movies just, since we have to use fucking children to make a movie, it's awkward now because we're using real fucking people, and like it's like there's a reason it does what it does, like.
Yeah, and this could just be personal on my part, but like maybe just because 14 is the age you start high school. For me, 14 is like a big kind of mental cutoff age of like, oh, if things happen after that, it's normal, and if they happen before that, it's not normal. So it's just because she's 13.
I get what you're saying.
If she were also 14, I wouldn't give a shit. It's just because she's 13.
I know 14-year-old me wouldn't draw a line there.
Well, I'm not saying draw a line. It's just like, I don't know. It's just a weird little. I think it's just because starting at age 14, you're in high school. And so then I can be like, all right, it's not that crazy if he smokes a fucking joint. It's not that crazy if he gets a hand job under the bleachers. But
yeah, but not everyone has the same breakdown of like when things transition.
Yeah, true. No, that's just something on my part. It was just something I remembered. Like, oh my god, they kind of implied he fucked Ron's sister.
You can't fuck Ron's sister?
Again, if she were slightly older, I wouldn't be freaked out by that. But fucking a 13-year-old girl, even when you're 14, freaks me out a little bit. Maybe it shouldn't, but it does a little.
I mean, a 13-year-old girl fucked him.
Realistically, that is almost certainly what happened, given those two characters' personalities.
Well, I would more just say, granted, the way J.K. 100% wrote the Weasleys as an Irish stereotype. Since we're just fucking outing all the things,
well,
guys,
you don't say.
Well, are you telling me that they're not just horny, poor Catholics? Poor, horny Catholic people living in a farmhouse, uneducated, but then you got to give the dad a government job just so it's like not like that. But like the mom is dressed like she's fucking Stregonona, and like I don't know, dude. Like it really feels like she's trying to say something.
So in the world of Harry Potter, at age 11, you start going to wizarding school, right? But that leaves the question of what about all your education up till then? And I think the only canon answer we've been given on that is they get homeschooled in like basic non-magical stuff. And I'm like, you're telling me that the whole system relies on homeschooling? No wonder everyone's so fucking dumb.
I mean, that entire system's dumb, dude. If you're gonna get into shit like that, you gotta talk about the fact that plumbing was invented like 100 years ago or something. Like,
yeah, and not only that, they're selective about which Muggle stuff they adopt.
It's almost
like no one ever has a computer or a modern pen, but like Arthur Weasley's magic car isn't really that odd.
What? Do they even use notebooks? How do they write things down again?
They use like, I mean, yeah, I guess they're notebooks, but they're very like old-fashioned, like parchment type paper.
It's aesthetic for aesthetic's sake.
And that's fine if the series just rolls with that and is like, fuck, we're not answering any of the questions. But they tried to make it work, and that's the problem.
if you have a magic system, your system should be internally consistent. No, it's fantasy, and we should have suspension of disbelief.
Magic disrupts technology, so that's why they don't use computers. Okay, but what qualifies as
Car,
technology?
a car, a
Well,
car.
well, fuck cars. Like, I mean, that's true too. But like,
But they have a
fucking
flying car. What are you talking about?
yeah, they use the train to get to Hogwarts. I mean, everything is technology. Fucking using a stick to brace a heavy object is technology.
I've seen Doctor Stone. I know what counts as technology.
Yeah.
Ink is technology.
Also, in the last book/movie, they had fucking magic-powered radios because the plot needed them.
I mean, guys, if we're gonna get into it, half the fucking scenes that we see low key would require complex tools to build.
Oh yeah, I assume microchips. Well, if that's true, then what about because microchips haven't been in like prevalent usage in tech since like the late '80s at the earliest. So like, okay, fine, they don't have micro anything that uses microchips, but like what? None of the fucking wizards have a fucking VCR.
But like, they have lighting, right?
It's usually depicted as magical and/or candlelit, but yeah. But I feel like sometimes they have electric lighting at like the ministry or wherever.
I mean, I'm just trying. Wait, are you telling me that all their records are not kept on computers? Every single one of them is by hand?
It's probably not even typed. It's probably handwritten with a quill.
So you're telling me I have to physically go to a place to get a record?
Yeah, now luckily the wizarding world appears to have like maybe 100,000 people max.
Well, when you say the wizarding world, I always get confused. You mean the quarter that we hang out with? Because there's like the other ones, right?
Well, there are wizarding societies hidden throughout the whole planet. It's just we only focus on the one.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't assume that we're keeping records for the Africans.
No, like presumably. By the way, apparently, according to fucking J.K. Rowling, there's only one wizarding school for the entire continent of Africa.
I think about that sometimes.
Now,
And it's right in
that
the
would
middle of nowhere.
work if it was a statement about how rare wizards are. Like, oh, there's so few of them, we only need like one on each continent. Like, okay, that would be something. But then, like, Western Europe by itself has two or three.
Because the Germans got one, the Brits got one. What I assume our Swedes or Norwegians got one.
In the movie, they were French. I don't know what they were in the book.
Oh, that's what they are? Okay, they're French.
Yeah, they were French and Russian in the movie, but I don't know if that's changed from the book. At least I
Okay.
think he was Russian because his name was Victor with a K. So
I wasn't sure if that was a German kind of Victor.
it had a more German aesthetic a lot of the time, but then
Yeah,
all the
that's why I was
characters
like,
talked with Russian accents, so it was probably supposed to be kind of Prussian ambiguous.
okay, so yeah, well, let's just pull up Nazi countries. Great.
Yeah.
Or Nazi countries, whatever.
Why would they need TV? The pictures already move. I don't know what to tell you, but even if we're restricting it to TV that existed before the 90s, let's say, because of the aforementioned microchip thing, like, sorry, there's nothing in that Hogwarts library that's more interesting than fucking Star Trek The Next Generation. Sorry, I'm just right.
I mean, I don't know. Kind of got mixed feelings on this one. You can do magic.
Well, that's the thing is you can do magic, but the way Harry Potter depicts magic, none of the magic you can do is particularly interesting.
Yeah, don't forget the age restriction because they just got a legal fucking no magic button.
Well, it's not a button so much as it is like there are consequences. Like they can't literally turn your magic off when you set foot off school grounds. It's just that you can get in trouble for doing it.
Ugh, man.
I think they were Bulgarian, but that makes sense. Also, the Africa thing might be commentary on imperialism, but that's probably giving the series too much credit. Yeah, if it weren't J.K. Rowling, I'd assume it was a commentary on that, but it's J.K. Rowling. So.
She's not doing commentary on imperialism. She's just doing imperialism aesthetics because she doesn't know what imperialism is.
Yeah, her idea of social commentary is telling Hermione that it's bad to meddle in another culture's affairs when you don't understand them. And fair enough, there is a context in which that's true, but this context is not it.
Like, JK's social commentary is the word muggle is a slur. And see how people's feelings are hurt? So slurs are bad.
Which, like, fair enough for a 5-year-old. Maybe that's a good summary of the issue, but these books aren't supposed to be for 5-year-olds. At least theoretically. Maybe read it with a dad or whatever, but like the implication is that you're supposed to be an old enough kid that you're reading independently to be into Harry Potter.
I feel like the implication is you're the age of Harry Potter to be reading Harry Potter.
Yeah, roughly, yeah.
Because, like, otherwise, how do you even put yourself in those shoes anyway?
Well, that's the thing, is that in order to make Harry a good like character, like reader avatar, he's somewhat, at least in the books. In the movies he's better about it, but in the books he's somewhat of a blank slate as a character.
Oh yeah, he isn't a character. Daniel Radcliffe is just a god.
Well, yeah, in the movies, just by virtue of needing to for a movie and having an actor to play him, Harry has more distinctive character traits. But in the book, he kind of just has the traits of whoever's hanging out with him in that moment.
He's just there.
Well, it's
Sometimes he's a
weird
rebel.
because like
Sometimes he's a smart guy. Sometimes
because
he's a
like
shark.
you're supposed to think that like, oh, he's brave, oh, he's kind-hearted, but then there's like scenes where if he hangs out with Ron too long, he'll start being kind of a snarky prick like Ron.
Harry Potter is just a mirror.
Yeah, I mean, in the books, that is. Most of what we're saying, shitting on Harry Potter, applies more to the books because the movies, by virtue of being movies, are able to float their weaker elements along with other elements that are good.
See, I feel like I'd say even the movies still have all the lore problems. It's like
A
Daniel
lot of
Radcliffe
them, but some get cut for time.
Well, I mean, sure, but like, don't we add different racist characters in the movies, or am I misremembering this?
The only racist character I can think of who was added for the movie was the fucking Jamaican shrunken head bit part from Prisoner of Azkaban, which
Okay,
apparently J.K. Rowling thought was hysterical and wished she'd come up with it. And I'm like, yeah, I bet you fucking wish you came up with it.
of course you did.
But other than that, most of the more problematic elements of Harry Potter, for time, if nothing else, got cut from the movies. So that's
Hey, look, it's
part of
Cho
it.
Chang.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a silly name, but like, okay, whatever.
It's a silly name. I mean, it's like how your racist uncle talks about like Chinese people.
I agree. But again, if that were the worst thing about Harry Potter, I'd just go, whatever. She just didn't know. I mean, not that Chinese naming conventions are similar to ours, but every now and then you meet someone in real life whose first name sounds like something that would be a last name.
That's not the problem. It's just Hermione Granger or Ronald Weasley, Cho Chang. Like
Yeah.
it's it's how much she's just like half-assing it, man. Just pick up a baby book, bitch. Like
I feel bad for every other British woman named Hermione because that used to be a completely normal name, but because it's just uncommon enough, now it's thought of only in the context of Harry Potter.
I mean, I feel more bad for the kid's name fucking Zelda, dude.
Well, Zelda, I mean, I agree when you have like an obnoxious fan name, but at least Zelda is a better franchise.
That is universally the facts. I mean,
I feel really bad for modern kids named Hermione after the movie/books.
I don't, because their parents are clearly idiots, and the bloodlines get what they deserve. You fucking muggles.
Oh god, you know what I just realized?
What?
All those fucking kids born in like 2012 whose parents named them like Khaleesi or whatever are all like entering high school now, and oh my god, I can't imagine how hard they're getting bullied.
I don't think they get bullied.
There's got to be some fucking mean-spirited jokes thrown at those kids, man.
Yeah, but you also, I kind of feel like when the kid's named Drogo, he's already pumping iron.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking specifically about like, well, I'm thinking Khaleesi specifically, both because it's so obviously Game of Thrones, but also because her character, that show wiped its fucking ass with her character so bad later on.
I I uh I do you do you real do you really feel that way?
I never saw it. I'm just repeating what I've heard, but from what I've heard from people I trust, the ending of the show was like dog shit.
The ending of the show was dog shit. I do think a lot of people always put her in this spot of like, oh, badass girl boss. And like, I kind of feel like she was always in the camp of great character, bad person.
What I heard was that her transformation into full-on supervillain happened way out of left field.
It happened way too quick, but it was always foreshadowed.
Yeah,
So like,
that's the
it
thing.
was like not coming. It was coming. They just, okay, like the best way to put it is there was a bunch of things where like, and we're gonna slowly drop this in, and then they realized that with one season left, one season, no question, one season, we've given her 20% of her villain needed. Fuck.
Yep.
And guys, if we don't make her 100% villain, there's no reason to justify why she doesn't take the throne, and like the whole point is she shouldn't.
Yeah, that was what I heard, was that she went from like 30% Hitler to 100% Hitler over the course of like 2 scenes.
Yeah, I definitely think we could have stretched it out. That's for sure. I just hate when people are like, "Shit, Khaleesi wouldn't have done that. That's not like it's a betrayal of her characters." Like, no, it's just like a rush.
Yeah, I mean, I never saw the show, so I'm just saying what I've heard, but I heard other problems about it too, but
Well, I mean, I think the biggest problem was fucking Bran.
yeah, I heard about that.
I mean, if we're ignoring the whole Coke can bit and everything else, it's like
Well, that's
problematic
just
stuff.
a fucking production error, like whatever.
Yeah, exactly. If we're ignoring all the like, if we're just talking like the story.
Like it's funny, but like they can just paint it out with CG in 3 seconds.
Have I ever told you about my thing with the Game of Thrones story?
No, but before you do, I
I
actually
want to
want
throw it on here so like I have a record of this, damn it, because it's gonna eventually come out and I'm gonna be right.
before you say that, I just want to say it's kind of funny that you brought up the, I think it was a Starbucks cup was what was visible.
Oh,
It,
Starbucks shop, yeah.
it's really funny to show how much an audience is willing to forgive something like that is highly dependent on what they already think of the show, because when that happened in Game of Thrones, it was at the point everyone was already making fun of Game of Thrones, so that just exacerbated it. But then a couple years later, the same thing happened in Mandalorian, but because that happened at the time everyone loved Mandalorian, instead it became a meme. And like
Pretty
people dressed as Jeans Guy for Comic Con and shit. Like people were, because they also painted Jeans
much.
Guy out.
They
They
were dressed James guy.
Yeah, well, they painted him out, of course, because someone noticed. People were sad when they painted Jeans Guy out of the episode.
James guy.
You heard about it, right?
Yeah, but I just like love the fact that he's called Jeans guy. Like I
Well,
didn't. I
there was
thought he
nothing else to call him, just Jeans Guy. Like,
Yeah, I know he had like a whole like cosplay group. It's great.
it was kind of a short term thing. I don't think there's anyone still doing it, but like because Comic Con that month or that year was only like a month after, someone showed up with like a fake wall and was wearing jeans and the same shirt and watch and would just poke slightly out from behind the wall.
That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah. Anyway, what's your thing about Game of Thrones? I want to hear this.
Okay. I'm gonna go on a little bit of a rant, maybe, depending on how you view a rant. Game of Thrones, I'm pretty sure, because George ain't come out with like the last book yet, and I do like the Key and Peele bit. That it's just a Faustian deal that he pulled the trick on.
Yeah.
I gotta finish the books to take my soul, bitch. So George is just sitting there like, I like this.
It's gonna be like fucking Dune 7, where he'll die while working on it, and then like 30 years later, his son will put out a different version of it that isn't as good.
Pretty much.
And
But
yes, may Gene's guy be with you.
I think the Game of Thrones in itself, the name says a lot about the series. I think it should be noted George met with these guys who made the show and like worked with them for a while and like explained a lot of what was going on and pretty much swore them to weird oaths of secrecy and shit.
He was pretty heavily involved in it at the beginning, at least. I remember
Yeah.
that.
So why is it named Game of Thrones? Is where I want to start this conversation.
Because it implies that it is a game, a political game for control of this world.
Yes. What throne?
And well, the Iron Throne being the big one, but like presumably the others would be included as well. You know, the other 6 kingdoms or whatever.
So it's like the 6 kingdoms, those are the thrones that we're talking about.
I assume. I know nothing about the fucking franchise other than what I've said, but
I think that's an entire misdirection, and that's the trick.
Okay.
What I think, the Game of Thrones is a war of the gods.
Okay.
I want to lay out some of the things we know about this universe here. Confirmed gods that we know. We got Rohan, Fire, Flame guy. Y'all know who I'm talking about. He goes by a couple different names. He's got the couple different cults, but he definitely is a real deity because he definitely made that bitch immortal, and he definitely can set Stannis into like super warrior mode. That happened. So like, we don't know what it is, but that deity exists. We have the faceless god. There is a being giving motherfuckers the ability to take their fucking face off and change it.
Oh, like Ko?
Yes, like fucking Ko. There's a cult of Kos.
Okay.
And they're very religious. They have a god, and it, like, one of the characters goes into this trying to get power, but then realizes it's like, it's way more dark brotherhood religious order than buy yourself a cool power, and it was upsetting to young Arya Stark. So we got that confirmed god. There's the drowned god. We're not exactly sure about the potential of this guy, but it's Sea Poseidon. But like, maybe a smaller version, maybe less, maybe more. We don't exactly super neat. There are the old gods. They're just called the old gods. They don't got names, but that's cool because their worship is old. They are worshipped by the fairies.
It's a lot more believable to imagine all these gods exist, given that Game of Thrones is a universe filled with magic and crazy shit. So
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, like, what is a god with a being on a higher plane? Just like get like Greek way that you're thinking on this one.
Yeah, like we've got dragons flying around. In this context, I can buy that all these fucking Roman Greek style deities exist.
Yeah, no, like I'm not saying there's a fucking maker god. I mean, there might be, but that's not what we're discussing here. But so yeah, you because you have like old fairy people. That is confirmed. We've seen them. Old fairy people talk through the fucking trees of ancestors. Weird shit with faces on them. It's complicated, dude.
Like the Lorax.
Yeah, but like Lorax Ents, but it's like it's styled like Elden Ring because it's made by the same dude.
I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees, and for some fucking reason, they speak Vietnamese.
The greatest thing. I can't hear the first part without thinking of the second part.
I can't either.
But okay, so like you like definitely got these old gods, and these fairies got their magic powers or whatever.
They are literal fairies, to be clear. We didn't suddenly get homophobic.
Also, dude, if I'm getting homophobic and I'm saying fairies, kick my ass back to the fucking 90s, bro.
True.
Skateboard away like you're Bart Simpson saying "smell you later."
I only think of that joke because there's an episode of Supernatural where Dean gets like arrested while in the middle of yelling "fight those fairies," and he means literal fairies, but the cops assume that he's being homophobic and he has to explain to them that he's not.
Bro, once again, I'm just gonna pull the Irish card.
True.
But
I just wanted to tell that story because it was funny.
It's fucking hilarious. So old ass humans show up with their old ass human powers, the first men or whatever, and these fairies are like, "Oh no, we're threatened, yada yada, war," and so they make goddamn the night. Is it night? Not Night King. That's Fallout.
Night Watch, I think. Night's
No,
Watch.
no. Those are the people who go against the guys I'm talking about.
Oh, the White Walker.
White Walkers. There we
Okay.
go. Yeah, White Walkers. And it's like the Night King or something like that. He's got some fucking name.
Yeah, the big CG guy who looks like Richard Brake. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he is Richard Brake, in fact.
All the fucking so they make these White Walkers, and it's essentially like zombies, undead.
Yeah, it was literally Richard Brake playing him. Sorry, go ahead.
Nice. They like eat through everything they touch. It's like they like made an undead god type shit, and they can't defeat it. You have the dragons. Dragons subscribe to a whole other weird philosophy we don't know the details about because they're from an ancient empire that worship different gods. And guess what, folks? That all corrupted due to weird magic, and we don't fucking know.
The dragons hail from the ancient empire known as HBO back in the days where they were willing to spend money on their CG assets.
See, when you say HBO back in the days, my mind went to titties, but...
Well, that too, but I meant more like 2010, where like you still had to try with VFX.
Oh, true.
Because the dragons always look really fucking good in that show compared to HBO's other shows.
True, but that was also in the age when like seeing those dragons was a "when are they getting here" thing, and like it was like
the dragons are coming.
They're coming eventually.
Anyway, it is central to the plot that this guy's wiener be out during this scene.
Listen, we are ripping off South Park. I just gotta say we are just ripping off Trey, but he was right. It's just one wiener next to another wiener. It's just fucking waiting for dragons. When are they getting here? I've been told for how many seasons now, how many years I'm waiting for dragons. It sucks. Anyways.
Which is really funny because they made that joke when the show was on like season 3.
It's almost like Trey knows media development. And dude's like, these dragons are not coming, bro. Like you.
I mean, they did eventually. The question is, were they good?
The thing is, he probably read the book, so it was just like, yeah, no, this speed is gonna leave us with 10 years. Like, but with the information I've put forth so far, actually, I want to add one other group. You have the 7, who they are the new gods, but their people do seem to be succeeding. I want to put all this information together and give you a hypothesis. There's a bunch of like Skyrim-esque gods who are all sitting in a room fighting with each other about who gets to be in charge. And the way they get in charge is they get all of us down here to agree. Because they can't decide up there. And so what they're doing is they're all not supposed to be getting involved, but they're all getting involved like it's fucking Troy and throwing all of us at each other in different waves. You got one trying to be super sneaky, fucking hide from the shadows and just bide its time. You've got one who is like really big dick swinging and seemed to have its entire empire crumbled, who is trying to come back. You have like a goddamn group of new, like you have new gods and old gods. I don't know. Like maybe I'm thinking too much like I'm fucking Neil Gaiman, but
don't think too much like Neil Gaiman. That ends badly.
So I know, not that much like Neil Gaiman. Jesus, I don't even have kids.
By the way, just on that subject, I'll never forget when I had to break the news of that to you, and just the look in your eyes as you Googled it and realized it was true.
It's like, what?
Like, I could literally watch the level of light in your eyes deplete as you're reading. No, man, no. I felt the same way.
Bro, American Gods is so good, it should be a redefinition of people's belief structure in their real lives.
And he pissed it all away by abusing women.
He somehow wrote the greatest children's story of all time. And then just like Fuck it.
Yeah, just drop kicked it off a fucking cliff because he was more interested in treating his house guests like shit.
Like, and it hurts because, like, damn, I really think he has a decent understanding of how, like, or of an interesting way to look at existence, and still chose to do those things, which makes it all the more disappointing. You know what I mean?
Truly, say what you will about Star Wars, it deserves a lot of flack, but my fucking god, every day I get up and I thank Jesus that George Lucas fucked off with his money and rarely makes public appearances.
Oh, it's so fucked up.
What was that Hard Times headline last month? Star Wars fans rejoice as George Lucas continues to keep his political opinions to himself.
Nice. Like, what the fuck?
I know. But anyway, I think your theory you're getting to, which is that the Game of Thrones is these gods manipulating the different groups of people on their own behalf, that's not the craziest idea.
I don't think that the throne is the human one. I think that's the misdirection, because I don't know why we're expecting George R.R. to be on the surface with us. I don't see that. I mean, say what you will about him being a dick. I love the Red Wedding. I love it because it is unapologetically showing that he is writing the story, and all of you reading it can fuck off if you want. Like that's okay.
By the way, that's another example of how doing the exact same thing the same way 2 times can yield 2 different results. The Red Wedding was a monster hit for Game of Thrones. The Negan Corey bat incident on Walking Dead was not, even though it's basically the same thing.
I'd argue the problem with the Negan Corey bat is the Walking Dead TV show was afraid to make Glenn a pussy. And so we actually had him being a good human being. And if we had thought about Glenn the way we always thought about Glenn in the comics, which is he runs, he's kind of a bitch, it would just be like, eh.
I mean, to be fair, even comic Glenn had quite a bit of character development from being the supply runner who's kind of a pussy. Like, having read them somewhat recently, like, no, Glenn was a pretty fucking seasoned fighter by the time he got killed.
Well, absolutely. But, like, would you not say that the show is pretty gracious to him personally?
I mean, I would, but I'd say that about the comic, too. Like, Glenn's whole role in the comic is he's the nice, level-headed guy everyone likes.
Maybe it's just that Fuck's his face added a real like personality to it.
He did. I mean, maybe his screen time varied, of course. It's just like Glenn's whole thing is he's the guy who's too good for this shit ass world.
He was just kind of bland, like just kind of milquetoast dude.
Yeah, I mean that's the nature of writing a comic with like 30 fucking characters in it, is that not everybody gets all of the focus.
Well, no, I think it's fine. I mean, I think part of The Walking Dead is you got a lot of great people, and at a certain point, you're going to be desensitized to it. It doesn't make them bad characters or worse. I guess I'm just saying the TV show, I think made him like matter in a way that didn't let that desensitization happen when he died.
Well, that, and also because it's a TV show and there are contract obligations and all kinds of other stuff, it's a lot, as Robert Kirkman himself pointed out in an interview I saw once, it's a lot harder to kill characters off in the show than it is in the comic.
Fair.
I think he said, because I remember the line he said was, if I kill someone off in the comic, all I have to do is call Charlie Adler and tell him not to draw that particular sequence of lines anymore. Whereas when I kill someone off in the show, like, that's an actor losing their job. And potentially moving and shit.
I mean, he was fine doing it to Carl.
Well, that was because fucking Chandler Riggs was going off to college or whatever.
Yo, fuck you, Chandler Riggs. You can't sign up to be Carl and then have a life.
Well, actually, so I've heard conflicting answers on why they killed him off at that time. I heard some people say for that. I heard some people just simply say because the show didn't want to pay him an adult's daily rate.
I feel like there's a third thing, though.
What's that?
which is they wrote Judith to have his storylines. So I think you couldn't have two kids.
Well, the question there is chicken and egg, but yes, certainly after he died, they gave all his comic storylines to either Judith or Henry, depending on the needs of the story. Because Henry got like his blacksmith thing.
Oh yeah.
And his romance with Lydia and all that.
Judith should have died as a baby. That baby should have been shot with a shotgun.
I mean, I don't even mind Judith surviving, but from like I'm gonna say season 7 onwards is when maybe season 8 if I'm feeling generous. That's when Walking Dead kind of fell into like, all right, we don't quite know how to handle this anymore territory.
Bro, they had Michonne and Rick hook up. I was over it.
I didn't mind that because the versions of them from the show were so different from the comic that like it was hard to think of them as doing the characters wrong.
It's doing them wrong because Michonne likes black guys.
Well, yeah, in the comics she does, but in the show, like, we never really got any. I mean, other than the fact that her son was black, so clearly she liked one black guy. But
son was black, and I mean, well, they took away every love interest she had. But...
yeah, I mean, that's a problem in and of itself too, because they hadn't written Tyrese yet in when they introduced her.
I'm just saying, she sees a fine chocolate man, and she's like, "This zombie apocalypse ain't got much for me, but it's got one thing."
Which I mean, fair enough.
She sees Ezekiel, she's gonna be like, chocolate rain.
You probably weren't watching the show anymore by this point, but in season, I think 9 or 10, probably 10, they did have a bit where she and Ezekiel shared a kiss, but it wasn't like a full-on romance. It was just like a one kind of kiss that they both felt awkward about. But it did lead to the funny line where Michonne says, like, you know, hey, don't feel too bad. It was the first time in 5 years I've been able to kiss someone taller than 4 feet.
Yeah.
Because, like, the only other person she gets to kiss is, like, her kids.
I hate to hear.
I haven't watched all the spin-offs yet, so I don't know how it gets resolved, but I know they did a mini-series about Rick and Michonne reuniting and, like, going on a quest or whatever.
He's back?
Well, Rick never died, is the thing.
Didn't he go off with the government?
He got kidnapped, essentially.
And he got back?
Well, so I haven't watched it yet because I used to watch all these with my mom, and then when my grandparents moved in and my grandpa was getting sick, we didn't have time to watch them, and then I realized I don't actually care that much, so I've been putting off watching them for 3 years. But yeah, Rick, they showed him in the series finale having, like, clearly making one of what are clearly many escape attempts from these government stooges.
Wait,
and they don't reveal that, at least not in the part I saw. It's not a prison, but like it's some deserted like shipyard almost.
He's not doing work?
Well, we don't know what he's doing. This is literally the only time we've seen him since he disappeared. And it's like a 30-second long scene.
And then we have another.
Yeah, so a while back in probably like season 10, the whole reason Michonne left the show is that she found evidence that Rick was alive and got permission from her family to leave and go search for him.
Oh, okay.
And that evidence is the form of she found a backpack that was very recognizably Rick's, both because she'd seen it a million times and because it had Rick's boots in it and an old iPhone where he had just, like, carved in a drawing of her and their kids. So she finds very credible evidence that Rick is still alive. And she walkies Judith back home at Alexandria, and she says, you know, Judith, the story of the brave man is how she explained it to the younger kid. And she said, Judith, I think the brave man might still be alive. And Judith is old enough, she knows what that means. And so she says, well, then you need to go find him. And she's like, well, what about you and your brother? And Judith says, we'll be okay, Mom. You have to go find him and bring him home. But then in the series finale, when they're showing what happens to every character, they show Rick, which this is presumably a flashback, running from one of the government helicopters and leaving that backpack in that boat where Michonne would later find it.
Okay.
So I haven't watched the spinoff yet. I don't know if it's any good. I heard reasonably good stuff about it, but I heard that from Walking Dead fans, so who knows how biased that is.
Where the story goes forward from there, and we see where the fuck he's doing.
Yeah, like I know that it's like a 6-episode miniseries where she finds him. I don't know where it goes from there.
So I was always curious. They gave Daryl that show in Europe, right?
I haven't seen that one either, but yes, they did.
Does he ever find Rick's brother?
I don't know actually. Even though I haven't watched it, I don't want spoilers, so I've avoided learning anything about it other than like the occasional trailer I see on TV. But
Fair. I just know there's the one comic where there's like a one-off story about what the fuck is Rick's brother up to.
I've got it up there actually.
He's in Europe.
Well, yeah, in the main comic. What?
He's in Italy, I think.
I think it was Spain, but he'd clearly been all over.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the comic, way back in the beginning, they mention in passing Rick's brother Jeff. So introducing him in that comic wasn't really that much of a plot twist because we already knew that he had a brother.
So I always expected the Daryl show to be like, we're gonna get Rick's brother.
I don't know if the show has ever mentioned Rick having a brother, but that doesn't mean they couldn't write it in.
Just feels like a missed opportunity.
I mean, I don't know. I just I remember it because when I started reading the comic, finally, I knew about that Walking Dead alien comic where Jeff appears. So I noted that way back in the beginning of the comic in like 2003, Lori mentions in passing, like, yeah, I met Rick in high school. I had math class with his brother Jeff or whatever. And I was like, oh shit, they were mentioning Jeff all the way back then.
Jeff was wrong.
Yeah, like that wasn't just some bullshit they cooked up a decade later. Like they already had in their heads the idea that Rick had a younger brother.
Me llamo Jefe.
Yeah, I know. Actually, speaking of Walking Dead comics with aliens in them, did you ever read Rick Grimes 2000?
I didn't know how the fuck is Rick Grimes 2000.
So issue number 75, that's the one where Rick is kind of freaking out in Alexandria, and then Michonne knocks him out at the end.
Yup.
Issue 75, I think, came out either on April Fool's Day or for April Fool's Day. They included in issue 75 an alternate ending, a purposefully non-canon alternate ending, where Rick wakes up in a hospital bed just like he did in the beginning, only it's a high-tech alien hospital, and he has like a cybernetic hand replacing his right hand, and like all his friends and family are there, including some who died in the series. And it's like, yeah, Rick, the zombie virus was caused by alien invaders. We discovered it while you were unconscious. We have to go fight the aliens now. And that was just an April Fool's Day prank, but it was so popular that like a decade later, they actually wrote a 5-issue miniseries following that version of it.
Yes. I love this.
Hang on. Let me grab it. Yeah, like it's got Rick wielding a lightsaber on the cover.
Oh my god. Oh my god, that's great.
Actually, the alien thing, at least according to one thing I read, that was a trick Kirkman pulled on Image to get it published.
That's funny as fuck.
Because when he was first pitching the comic, they were kind of unsure about it because there'd never been an ongoing zombie series before. There'd only been like, movies and shit. And so they're like, can zombies really sustain a whole comic that'll last for years and years? And then Kirkman was like, oh, no, see, there's a twist coming. We're going to reveal that aliens caused the zombie virus, and it's going to transition into being about fighting the aliens. And they were like, oh, shit, that's really cool. And so they gave him approval, and then he just never put that part in.
That's fucking hilarious.
And then admitted to them after it was published, yeah, I was never going to do that.
Sorry, the aliens are not coming.
I made that shit up. And then the guy was like, you know what? Fair enough. It's better without it after reading it.
Gotta say, you actually cooked here.
There's a TV show that most people haven't really heard of because it was just on like basic cable, but called Falling Skies. That's basically like Walking Dead, but with aliens.
I know about this actually.
Yeah, Noah Wiley, Will Patton, those guys.
Yeah.
It's not like the best show ever, but it was pretty fucking good. Like, it was a pretty consistently entertaining show.
Oh, dude, you wanna know what I'm watching slowly?
What?
Gene Roddenberry's Andromeda.
Oh yeah, I've been meaning to watch that because he did other shows besides Star Trek, despite what people remember.
It is really funny though, because like essentially Gene Roddenberry's Andromeda is you steal the long night from Asimov slash 40K. And then you go, but I've got a Kirk ass hero, and I just threw in these ragtag bunch of new dudes with some hot girls, and we're gonna get it done. And we're gonna bring back the Empire from 300 years ago.
Well, Roddenberry, after Star Trek ended, he had a million ideas he'd never gotten to use on Star Trek. And he worked on other shows in the decade interim between the end of the show and the first movie. So some of those old Star Trek ideas he never used, he tweaked and used in other stuff.
Yeah.
But then when he got to do Star Trek again, he just did them again anyway. So there's like one or two plot developments where it's like, hey, I recognize that.
That's the same damn thing.
I mean, it's changed a little, of course, to fit the new context, but like, it is kind of funny. Roddenberry just like, I never got to use that. Here you go.
Okay.
You see that with Next Gen, like, especially in the pilot, Riker and Troy are basically the exact same characters as Decker and Ilea from the first movie, because they were both based on an old Phase 2 script that didn't get used.
Oh, you're right.
There's at least it's not as many as people think, but there's at least one episode of Next Gen that, because it was produced during the writer's strike, was just an old Phase 2 script with I think it was the season 2 premiere. That was it.
Sounds accurate.
Yeah, the one where Troy gets pregnant from the alien. That was a script they wrote for Phase 2 in like 1975 and just sat on the shelf. And because they couldn't write anything new because the writer's strike, they were like, fuck it, we need to put on an episode. Go find an old script we haven't used. This'll do. Just change all the character names. Cross out Decker, write Riker.
Every time I hear about the writer's strike, I'm reminded of the Studio Actors Guild, which reminds me of the Film Actors Guild.
Yep.
Which reminds me of the most important actor of all time, Matt Damon.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Eric Bardwin.
Eric
You are worthless, Eric Bardwin. You are worthless, Eric Bardwin.
See, no, if you're going to sing one of the Kim Jong-il songs, sorry, not Il, God, I had to think about that one.
Yeah.
It has to be Brown Reed.
What's so funny, I tried this as like an experiment. If you sing that song in a normal accent, it becomes a tragedy.
Yeah, that's the point. Is Trey writes music. He wrote a sad song, and it's like, well, watch this.
Well, he does write music, but like all the other genuinely real songs in that movie are lyrically funny. But I'm So Ronry isn't lyrically funny. It's only funny because of the accent. If you take the accent out, it's just a tragedy.
That's true.
That's why it's so unique in a movie filled with other excellent songs.
My favorite Trey song is still a Satan song from South Park, Bigger, Longer, Uncut.
I don't know what my very favorite is.
Baby's birthday and flowers blue. Everyone dreams like a dream too.
Similarly, you probably know this, but not everyone watching does. Do you know why the theme music for Blazing Saddles is so good?
Who the fuck was it? I feel like I was told this at one point. I don't remember.
I forget the composer's name too, but Mel Brooks didn't tell him it was a comedy.
Yeah.
He just said, I need a theme for my Western movie, and gave him like the name and the basics. And so the guy wrote A Blazing Saddle thinking he was writing it for a serious movie.
And then Mel Brooks just started writing. And made it look so very bad. Yeah, it's fucking great. I love him so much.
He rode a blazing saddle. That's such a great fucking song.
Blazing Saddles is one of the great examples of some things you gotta watch with the right company, but with the right company, it's oh so good.
You really do. That's one of those movies where there's so many jokes in it that are so funny that other jokes that would be the funniest one in another movie get lost in the fucking shuffle.
Oh yeah, because they just keep going.
Like at the end when they're going to the movie and Hedley Lamar's like, "Oh, student," and pulls out the obviously old student ID. Like that's hysterical.
Everything meta about that movie is fucking great. Hold on.
For my next impression, Jesse Owens. Do you know about the joke that they made him cut?
I don't think so.
You remember the whole like it's twoo about what they say about black men?
Yeah. Yes.
There was a line that was supposed to be after it's twoo where he says, "I'm sorry to disappoint you, ma'am, but you're sucking on my arm." And the studio made him cut it. I think he agreed to cut it so that he wouldn't have to cut anything else, which fair enough. But it's like, oh,
oh fucking Mel Brooks, dude. Man. Oh, you were muted.
Yeah, sorry. There we go.
Folks, just remember, real Jews stand against stupid, hateful fascists.
They do. Real human beings in general stand against stupid, hateful fascists.
Also very true. They do. They do indeed.
So before, because we were talking about Gene Roddenberry, before we get to Star Trek, there's one thing I want to bring up. Have you watched this show?
Dog. I mean, absolutely not. Before you bring this up, can I just give you a quick non sequitur?
Sure.
I was at my job the other day and randomly talking to coworkers or whatever, and I say something about Kunta Kinte, and he was like, "Who?" And I'm like, Roots. He's like, "What?" I'm like, Roots. He's like, "Man, I'm not really into hip hop."
Which was literally a joke from the South Park movie.
Have you heard of the Emancipation Proclamation? No, I don't listen to hip hop. Yes, that literally happened. That is my point. Is that I brought up Roots? It gets worse. It gets worse. I'm like, no, like Roots, the series. He's like, no, I don't watch anime.
Remember that? Remember the black comedian I told you about, W. Kamau Bell, who had the whole thing about like charting his daughter's skin tone with Michael Jackson covers?
Yes.
I don't remember if it was the same stand-up special or a different one because I saw a few. But he told a story about how he was at the park with presumably his daughter or whatever, and there was it was a black nanny with a Haitian or Nigerian accented nanny with a white baby, and she was playing what?
Oh, I just said white baby. White baby.
Oh. Yeah, so she was playing with the baby, he's little, so he's in the stroller, and she's bouncing him up and down and shit. And I guess the baby's name was Toby, because she goes "Your name's Toby. Can you say Toby?" Like she's playing with him. And Kamau Bell overhears this and thinks of Roots.
As you should.
And he goes, so there are two possibilities here. One, this woman has neither read nor seen Roots. Two, this woman came up with the funniest revenge for slavery I've ever thought of.
Your name is Toby.
She's just bouncing the cute little baby on her knee as she says it. It's like, can you say Toby?
That's so fucking terrible.
I gotta go back and watch more. I gotta watch his serious stuff too. He barely ever does comedy now because now he's just a serious journalist.
The world is sad.
Yeah, I mean, he did the whole Richard. I saw the trailer for it a million times, but he did the whole Richard Spencer interview where he was baiting him into being a lunatic on camera. Not that that's hard to do with Richard Spencer, but
Watch a documentary today about that town in Arkansas that's all white.
Oh my, you're gonna have to be a lot more specific.
The one that's outwardly all white.
Oh, the one that's literally a sundown town. Yeah,
No, sundown town implies black people can come there.
during the day. Oh, okay. So you mean like full
South
on little
African
mini
apartheid.
ethno state,
Think South African town,
except in Arkansas.
except in Arkansas.
God, I can't decide which accent is dumber.
I mean, they're all fucking transplants, and none of them have an accent.
Oh, well, yeah, of course. No, nobody lives in the all-white Arkansas town due to happenstance.
Well, no, it's one of those things where it's starting to turn into a wild, wild country situation where like the town's like, get the fuck out of here.
Anyway, Stuart, I don't know why my phone just fucking made that much noise for one email. Sorry. I have my phone in front of me because I'm going to use it for notes. So Stuart fails to save the universe. Do you know what this show's about?
Let me take a wild fucking guess. Stewart is going to go through a bunch of multiversal one-off episodes and fuck up every time and try to get to the bottom of what's eating it or whatever. And there's gonna be some Langolier ass bullshit.
More or less.
No.
Well, see, when they announced it, they didn't have the title yet. They just announced new show about Stewart from The Big Bang Theory. So my initial assumption was that, oh, it's going to be a workplace sitcom about the comic book store. Okay, whatever. And then I heard nothing about it for like 3 years until the first trailer came out revealing that it's a multiverse thing where Stewart goes through dimensional portals with a machine that Leonard and Sheldon built. And I was like, okay, I guess I have to watch this fucking show now.
Do you though?
Well, so that's the thing. It's not that it's like a masterpiece of TV, but it is really funny to see them bring back Big Bang Theory stars as guest stars and tell they visibly don't give a shit. It's really fucking funny.
That is kind of fun.
It's also just funny to see Stewart getting thrown through all these portals. And one of the other main leads on the show is Brian Posehn, whom is probably my favorite stand-up comedian. So I would watch it just for him. But
He is funny.
but in the last episode, you know, each episode they go to a new weird dimension, right?
Sure.
The last one was the one where magic is real. To the point that like they burn scientists at the stake rather than burning witches at the stake type of thing.
Okay.
But Brian Posehn discovers that he's magic. And so at the end of the episode, he has this big wizard battle against another wizard, and it is genuinely more creative with its use of magic than the Harry Potter books were.
That's not hard.
I know, but it's like, I mean, obviously the CG doesn't look very good because it's a fucking sitcom and it's not really trying to look that good. But it's just like one of them. Oh yeah, he was fighting Will Wheaton. That was it.
Will?
Yeah, because I don't know how much of Big Bang Theory you watched, but
I know Will Wheaton plays D&D. That's what I know.
Yeah, Will Wheaton had a recurring role on that show as an evil version of himself.
He's evil, Will Wheaton?
Well, he's not literally evil, he's just a dickhead. So they have this like kind of on-off odd friendship with him throughout the show. Like it's initially antagonistic and then they kind of make peace. So like occasionally if they need an eighth guy for an event, they invite Will Wheaton type of thing. But so he fights the Will Wheaton of this magic universe, who is a dark wizard. So they're like in the comic book store shooting spells at each other, and then Will Wheaton rolls up his sleeve. He's got all these fucking crazy tattoos on his arm, and one of them's an octopus. He just kind of grabs the tattoo and pulls it off, and it turns into like a real octopus as it comes off his arm. And he throws it at Brian Posehn, who then opens a dimensional rift, and a shark comes out and eats the octopus. Like, it's way more dynamic and interesting than most magic in movies is.
Sounds like it's based on like some fun fun video gamey interpretations.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they're not taking it too seriously. It's a very comedic take on a multiversal dimensional crisis. It's just pretty funny to watch this fucking guy, who, as the show will repeatedly point out, is the most ill prepared for this guy you could imagine.
Why is he doing it?
Because of so we open with it's like the apocalypse. Like, you know, it looks like fucking Mad Max. And then a version of Stewart who looks a lot more like the version we know from Big Bang Theory shows up with the machine and says, Stewart, you have to fix the multiverse. Something went wrong. The world isn't supposed to be like this. And then gets like warped away before he can explain, type of thing.
Huh.
So this Stewart has to like, he's like, all right, I guess I gotta fucking save the multiverse.
God forbid he gets anyone to help him, right?
Well, he has like his friends and shit. But remember, he is from the apocalypse world where most of his friends and family are dead, so he kind of had limited options when picking his crew.
Pick him from a different fucking universe.
Well, eventually he does figure out how to do that, but 3/4 of the crew he's forced to pick in the pilot episode where he only has the one universe.
Fair.
And then by that point, they're stuck with him. So, like, all right.
He killed them all.
Well, so far, the universes he's been to haven't been normal ones. There's Apocalypse 1, and then the second one, there's everyone's nice because they have an implant in their head that shocks them if they get aggressive. And then there's magic, and then that's it because they've only aired 3 episodes. So,
okay.
But
Can you hold on 2 seconds?
Yeah.
I'm gonna check my dog real quick.
Okay. While Nick checks on his dog, I'm gonna open up any files I need, and by files I mean tabs of shit I want to show on screen. But I don't think I really need any. Let me just check. What do I have here? I've got all my notes there. The hell is fucking... Oh, goody. ICE plans to give officers gloves that can deliver painful electric shocks. Well, the good news there is that ICE officers are so incompetent that they'll just wind up shocking themselves. So, you know, not a total loss, I guess. Revels in action-filled scenes. Very interesting choice to have the word fails right there in your title, because I keep reading headlines and thinking Stewart fails to means like, oh, the episode did a bad job at that, and then I remembered the name of the fucking show. Oh, Lanterns. When does that start? It's this week, isn't it? Yeah, oh shit. Hell yeah, brother. I didn't realize Lanterns was that close. I'm seemingly the only person who's actually excited for it because I didn't watch any of the trailers. Yeah, I don't know why everyone is complaining about this show being brown. It's like it's set in fucking Nebraska. What do you expect? Goddamn dummies. Kyle Chandler. You know, I'm not going to read any more of this. I don't want to know anything about Lanterns before it premieres. Ugh. Ooh, whoa. Give me a moment while I search for something, actually. YouTube. Okay. Nope, that's not what I want. That's not what I want. That's not what I want. Hang on. Let me see if I can fine-tune this. Isn't it so cool how search functions just like don't work at all anymore? Isn't that so awesome? Whoa, okay. Let me try this one. Nope, that's not it. Fuck me. Nobody has this. When Nick gets back, I'll tell him what I'm talking about. I don't want to spoil anything for you guys. Brian. God damn, where is this thing? Yeah, I've seen that. Okay, let's try again. That is not what I wanted. Thank you. Nope, it's not what I wanted either. Let me see if I add the episode title. Nope. No.
I've returned.
There you are. So I was trying to. Before I talk about Voyager, I want to lead you on this fucking annoying little rabbit hole I went on with DS9.
Okay.
And the moral of the story is physical media is the way to go. So
Piracy.
what?
Piracy.
No, actually, in this particular case, no, and I'll explain why. So, or not no piracy, but more like properly sourced piracy that most don't engage in. So, you remember the two-parter episode of DS9 where they go back to 2024, like the Bell Riot episode?
Yes.
First of all, depressing how accurate the prediction of 2024 would be, relatively speaking. The tech is a little bit wonky, of course, but like they do repeatedly reference the net, so they knew about the internet. So remember how there's the little B plot where Kira and O'Brien are trying to find them and they keep beaming to the wrong time period?
Yes.
So in one of those scenes, they beam to like the late 60s and the fucking hippie van with the flowers comes up and, you remember the scene.
Sure.
So when I watched it on Paramount Plus, it has some like kind of generic 60s style rock in the background. And I was thinking like, yeah, Star Trek doesn't tend to have a lot of licensed music, or at least it didn't used to. I know the recent stuff does since J.J. Abrams cracked that fucking seal. Basically, now that they have a budget to license music, now they reference licensed music.
Why not?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really care. It just stands in contrast to what Star Trek used to be like. Bless you. At least seemingly what it used to look like. So I look this after I watch the episode, I go read the wiki about it, as I always do. Apparently, in the original broadcast version of that episode, they did license a song for that scene. They licensed Hey Joe by Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, jeez. Sneeze again.
I'll wait. Bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm assuming you know Hey Joe, because it's a very famous fucking song.
Hey, Joe.
Where you going with that gun in your hand? Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. So they did actually. Yeah, caught her messing around with another man. So in the original, when they originally broadcast the episode in 1994, they licensed that song. But apparently their licensing deal for it was short term because not only did the streaming version not have it, even the syndicated reruns didn't have it. And then I was like, all right, I wonder if I find this on my perfectly legal website. I wonder if they'll have it. They didn't because
well, it depends what version you get.
What?
It just depends what version you get.
Well, that's the thing is I checked like my couple of normal ones and they all had the episode, but they had it sourced from like Netflix or Paramount or wherever. So it still had the shitty royalty free one.
Well, that's just the problem with your sources.
Yeah. So here's what I did. Not that it matters for a 3-second scene, but I just wanted to see if the difference was there. I was at the library today picking up something they had on hold for me. And then while I was there, I always, wander through, excuse me, gas bubble.
Hate it.
So I always wander through the DVDs at the library, and I saw they had the season box sets of DS9. So I was like, I'm gonna see how extensive this licensing issue is. I didn't even check the fucking thing out. They have a room in the library that has game consoles and TVs and shit. I took the DVD off the shelf. I went into that room. I powered up their TV and PS5, and I popped the disc in and fast forwarded to that scene in Past Tense Part 2.
Yeah.
And because that licensing deal apparently included home video, the DVD version, and only the DVD version, has the original audio for that scene.
You can just pirate the original DVD though.
Dude, I fucking tried.
Every time I hear about you in the Seven Seas, it just sounds like a fucking debacle. Like,
well, see, here's the problem, is that the version of the show that's on streaming now is of better quality in every other respect, picture, audio, everything, than the DVD was. And because piracy sites all source from the best source available, they all source from streaming, which means that because they didn't know to look out for this music thing.
It sounds like your piracy experiences are all like gay pirate.
Aren't all pirates gay?
No, well, yes, kind of, but the gay pirate. Someone help me out here. The R flag means death.
Oh, yeah. I haven't watched it, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, well, he's like a real dude.
Jermaine Clement, Taika Waititi.
No, it starts with an S. Bonnet, Stephen Bonnet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, it sounds like you're Stephen Bonneting this whole experience in that just getting the best thing does not mean getting the right thing.
Well, in this case, it doesn't really matter because it's just like a 30-second scene in an episode, and the music playing in the background doesn't matter. But it does annoy me. Honestly, you remember the Constantine show?
Yeah.
Great show. I have the Blu-ray. Unfortunately, for the same reason, the version I have on Blu-ray replaces the few licensed songs that show used with like generic music.
I think that's most annoying in video game re-releases.
Oh god, I know.
Like I think it's particularly fun when like they're gonna do the Fallout remasters and everyone's gonna have to come to terms with the fact that you will not have the same radio, bro. There is no fucking way these dudes are gonna get these same license agreements. There's no way.
I never played it, but from what I heard, the PS5 remaster of the original PS2 GTAs, among many other problems, had that they had to take a ton of the music out for rights reasons.
Oh.
That happened a lot, honestly. Like even I think it was Vice City. They had a short-term licensing deal to use a Michael Jackson song, but it was so short-term that even like the second printing of the PS2 discs had to take it out.
Damn.
Like that's so with partially just because video games are a relatively new form of media. That's been a problem for a while. Is like, oh, the fucking next gen remaster had to take that song out or whatever.
True, but also because it's a new art form, people are way more readily able and willing to accept bullshit.
That is true too. A similar note, I think I've told you this privately, but not on stream. A while, like 20 years ago, they decided to do DVD box sets of the whole original cast era of SNL, which is like the first 5 seasons.
Yeah.
And well, no, this is back when it was good.
I only like one time period of SNL.
What's
that is the time period when Andy Samberg was running that bitch.
True, but the original 5 seasons. The original 5 seasons are also great, mostly.
Right.
Obviously not every single skit, but like, you know, overall. So when they decided to do the original 5 seasons, they were like, all right, well, we don't want to release it unless we can release it uncut. So we don't want to have to cut any musical acts, any skits, any celebrity appearances. We want the licensing rights to everything, which is why it took them about 4 years before they were allowed to start actually making the DVDs. Because, you know, getting what's their name? Billy Preston. Like the first episode, or maybe not the first, but one of the first episodes had a big prominent usage of "Nothing for Nothing" by Billy Preston.
Nothing from nothing.
Yeah, that's it. Sorry. So the licensing deal they signed to use that song in 1975 was only for TV because it predated the existence of home video.
That guy's a soldier in the war on poverty. Do you think
Yes.
he's gonna give you that shit for free? The fuck you think this is?
I'm not saying that that particular band had any troubles. I'm just saying that in order to release those 5 seasons uncut, they had to do like 4 or 5 years of really extensive legalese and negotiating and hunting people down to sign off on the rights to every single scene.
I want Billy Preston to get his bag.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure he did. He was just the first example I thought of. There's also like 4,000 other people who were on that show.
Yeah, he's a soldier in the war on poverty.
That's why if you go on Peacock, like the app, they'll advertise, we have every episode of SNL. And that's true with an asterisk attached, which is they don't have all of them uncut because they lose rights to an actor's appearance or a song. So, like, if you go to the SNL tab on Peacock and you search and you go like 1993, let's see what they got. They'll have every episode, but some of the episodes will only be 16 minutes long because they could only clear 3 skits.
Do they have the dog shit Steven Seagal episode? Or wait, no, that one didn't air. That's what it was.
No, it did air. I think it only aired once, but it did air. Let me find out, actually.
Man, I aspire to hate someone as much as Lorne Michaels hates Steven Seagal, bro.
By the way, while you were gone, I was searching for the original version of the 60s Hey Joe scene, and I cannot find the original one online anywhere, like even as a clip.
What episode is it?
Past Tense Part 2, Season 3, Episode 12.
Got it.
You are better at searching for this shit than I am, so you might find it. Okay, I am actually going to look on Peacock to see if I assume they have that episode because, or at least parts of that episode. Saturday Night Live.
Yeah,
by the way,
I read a copy of the DVD of it right here, so assumedly.
Oh, okay. It's weird. I wasn't looking for that. I was just looking for the 1-minute clip from the episode. You'd think that would be easy to find, but it's not.
No. Well, I wouldn't think that. I mean, I feel like media preservation means you're able to get your hands on a thing, not that it's easily just segmentable.
By the way, apparently SNL UK is like actually good.
They probably just wear fucking dresses all the time, man.
No, apparently not, because everyone made that comment that it was going to be filled with that, and apparently it's like actually really good.
I say that as an avid Monty Python fan, but as someone who really wants them to acknowledge, you guys just wanted to wear dresses, and that's okay too.
Yeah, it is really funny because Monty Python didn't deal heavily in like transgender themes because that wasn't that big a thing in the cultural zeitgeist at the time. But like, what little discussion of it there was pretty progressive for Monty Python.
I want to be a woman.
Well, I think of I think of
babies.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's that, but like, what is it? Meaning of Life. When they have the big chaotic hospital birth, and she goes, "Is it a boy or a girl?" And the doctor says, "Well, I think it's a little early to be assigning roles, don't you?" Which is really ironic, because that line was delivered by John Cleese, who I'm not calling him transphobic, but he's played defense for Rowling a tiny bit.
I cut down trees, I skip and jump.
I try on women's clothing and hang around in bars.
Yeah, the choir gave up. It's great.
Okay, here we go. By the way, regarding Lorne Michaels, something that you might not know, it's really easy to get on Lorne Michaels' bad side on SNL.
Yeah, but as much as Steven Seagal.
Well, he he was particularly insufferable, but there are a number of other people who are banned from hosting SNL for like relatively minor things. That is also one of my favorite Monty Python lines, Zoe Bowie.
I put on women's clothing and hang around in bars.
Well, yes, but I was talking more about. I think it's a little early to be assigning roles, don't you think?
What is your favorite color? Blue. No, green.
Ah, they do have it. It's shortened because they couldn't get the rights to everything, but they do have the Steven Seagal episode.
Steven Seagal episode.
During the very brief period where he wasn't monstrously fat yet.
Bro, Steven Seagal at one point looked decent. But here's the thing, he cared too much about bullshito.
True.
Dog,
well,
I
go ahead.
He existed in the fucking age where like there were people who knew how to fight, but like the majority of Americans didn't know martial arts the way we do nowadays. And so like you could theoretically do the work and like make the movies too and be fucking JVD, or you could focus on looking cool as fuck and not actually ever doing any work and end up being Steven Seagal.
Also, musical acts have pushed Lorne's buttons so many times. Shout out to the guitarist from System of a Down shouting "fuck you" in the middle of the performance just to piss off Lorne. That is true.
Shout out to every single member of System of a Down, especially Serge.
So,
because once again, dude stands out against genocide like a sore thumb.
Goddamn right. So before we leave the DS9 subject, that this whole rabbit hole I went on got me thinking something that I can't find a straight answer to. Okay. What was the first time a Star Trek property used a licensed musical piece? And I can't get a consistent answer from my research. I mean, I can do more. I only searched somewhat briefly, but like, there's nobody who's made a whole list.
Oh, well, yeah, true. This could be your moment to get that forum fame.
That is true. Actually, well, so I found a Reddit thread not discussing that in particular, but more, well, I guess in part discussing that in particular. And then one huge comment thread of it went off on a tear about like the guy responsible for the Indian consulting was a fucking fraud and how as a result Chakotay fucking got shafted on the show. Like, you know the whole story.
In the words of my people, Akuchi Heyo.
True.
Listen, that joke is funnier in text, but it still cracks me up every time.
Yes, people were making that joke in the fucking comment thread I'm talking about, by the way.
Because it's dog. Because Chakotay is cringe. Like,
yeah. So people were going through the history of use of licensed music, or really just licensed media in general in Star Trek, but mostly music because that's what we're talking about. And a guy, what?
I said, man, we gotta get the Voyager.
Well, we will, and I don't have like a fuck ton to say because I've only seen 3 episodes, but I'm sure I'll have more to say throughout the season. But so so they're going on this thread about the licensed music in Star Trek, and one guy pointed out, you know, it's not really just for aesthetics that Star Trek mostly uses either very old or public domain works.
Money.
Yeah, like I'm sure that was part of it, and that would explain why now that they have real budgets, they all fucking license their music.
Yeah.
But it got me thinking, like, you know, about licensed music in Star Trek. So I was going through my mental Rolodex. And I did a little bit of research. So I forget the name of the song, but they used like a 30s, you know, jazzy song in City on the Edge of Forever in order to set the time period as being the early 30s.
Sure.
I forget if that song was public domain or not, though. So if we're talking, and then there's the I Hate You or whatever song playing on the boombox in Star Trek 4, and then Kirk, you know.
Listen, there's only one licensed song in Star Trek that matters to me.
What's that?
Elvis was a hero to most, but he never meant shit to me. Who was straight up racist.
I know that song. but when was it used in Star Trek?
So I want to say it's the second Abrams movie. He has the alien find a fucking Public Enemy recording and just like keeps jamming specifically to Public Enemy, and like that's
Oh, I knew it was from post J.J. Abrams.
dog. Yeah, I don't think any fucking older Trek is pulling Chuck D out of their fucking ass.
Not Chuck D specifically, but other licensed music. So they used the thing I mentioned, City on the Edge of Forever. They had the fake rap song they wrote for Star Trek IV.
Oh.
Which, by the way, apparently they brought that same punk character back in Picard, which is really cool.
Oh shit! Wait a minute. I have to go double watch that.
Yeah, like I guess in Picard, when they time travel to 2022, they're on the bus with an old version of that same punk who like leaves because he has a feeling he shouldn't be around these people.
I didn't know. Oh my god, that's great.
Yeah, that was the same actor too.
I love that for him.
Like they gave him the purple streak in his hair to like remind you, oh yeah, that is the guy from Star Trek 4. Similarly, the guy on the bus in Shang-Chi is canonically the same guy who says do a flip in Spider-Man Homecoming. Like, it's not just the same actor, they canonically confirmed it's the same guy. We do need a Shatner cover of Fight the Power. He's still alive and still cogent. He should fucking do it.
Fight the power.
We've got to fight the powers that be.
But see, here's the thing. He has to also do the Flavor Flav parts.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, boy.
Elvis was a hero to most, but he never meant shit to me.
I need it. That fool was straight up racist.
Motherfuck him and John Wayne. No, he has to say that in the same cadence he says double dumbass on you in Star Trek 4. Yes, boy. Anyway, regarding the actual subject we're talking about.
And now for something completely different.
Well, more like for something we were already saying.
It was a Monty Python reference, you fucking dingus.
I know what it was. So I believe, in terms of like proper licensing of a recognizable track that was definitely not public domain, it actually started before J.J. Abrams got involved because Star Trek First Contact used several late 60s psychedelic rock songs.
I'm sure Enterprise has some too. Oh, Faith of the Heart, dude.
Well, that's not a licensed song. They wrote that for the show.
Oh, fuck. They did?
No, I only mean existing music that they paid the artist to needle drop in the movie.
But Faith of the Heart.
Well, yeah, Faith of the Heart is great, but it's an original written by the composer of the show, presumably. Because that's why the fake rap song in 4 doesn't count, because that was just something they wrote for the movie.
True.
But yeah, when they're in the past, what?
I said, but Voyager.
Yeah, I haven't gotten. Well, I'll get to that. But yeah, when they're in the past in Star Trek First Contact, they used I forget which Roy Orbison song, but they used one of his, and they used Magic Carpet Ride by Steppenwolf because Zefram Cochrane has like a jukebox, and you know. That movie is also notable for being the first Star Trek property where someone actually says the word Star Trek.
It's a very stupid phrase.
Yeah. Actually, in the finale of Next Gen, Q said, "This is the end of your trek through the stars."
And so that's the closest I'm comfortable with.
Yeah, I mean, because it's just a throwaway line, I can deal with Zefram Cochrane going, "So you guys are aliens on some kind of Star Trek?"
It feels very much on a bit, but yes.
Well, yeah, but like it is, and also he's like visibly drunk in that scene, so I don't really care.
Wait, which Zephyr? this is drunk Zephyr Cochrane. That's the non-respectable one, not the cool one we get in. Is it Enterprise that gives us the cool one?
The original series had a somewhat cool, as in like magically rejuvenated to youth version of Zephyr Cochrane.
Okay, we have the magically rejuvenated one, and then we have the drunk one, and then I feel like one is just like a modest one. I think it's Enterprise.
Well, in Enterprise, when they showed Zephyr Cochrane, they just brought the same actor from First Contact back because it's supposed to be like fairly close in time. So basically, what happened was the events of First Contact made him like stop being an alcoholic and evolve into the respectable guy we know.
Well, that works.
Also, even though James Cromwell was like 50 when he was shooting that movie, if you do the math, Zephyr Cochrane should only be like 35.
Dude, I mean, have you seen how much it ages you to be the president?
Well, yeah, that's the thing is like if you go on Zephyr Cochrane's thing on the wiki, the little notes section mentions it's possible he just looks older than he is due to either radiation poisoning from the war or PTSD from the war.
Or the fact that he's like engaged in some really high tech stressful shit.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's not that crazy. It's just that when they fucking cast him in the movie, they didn't know the lore would later say how old he was supposed to be.
After one conversation with a Vulcan the first time, I'd probably want to hit myself in the face.
Yeah, probably. But, you know.
But
Anyway,
there are cool Vulcans, and his name is Tuvok.
I've only gotten a little tiny taste of Tuvok, but yes, I like him so far.
He's just he has aura.
He does.
Like I'm sorry, but he really just like he carries himself in a way that I like better than the other Vulcans.
Well,
Where
something I'm not supposed to know yet, but I do because the internet, is that Tuvok is much older than he looks and was actually in Starfleet at the very end of the TOS era.
yeah, Tuvok was around. Tuvok got around.
Well, I know that because the Khan podcast they released last year, the framing device of it takes place during, or not during, but like shortly after Star Trek 6. So they actually got George Takei and Tim Russ back as Captain Sulu and Ensign Tuvok as voice roles for the podcast.
That's fun.
Because like the framing device is Sulu taking the Excelsior back to SETI Alpha to figure out what happened with Khan, basically.
That's
Apparently, it's a really good podcast. I'm gonna listen to it when it's time to.
I want to listen to the one with Tawny Newsom.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
Voyager is fucking interesting because I feel like it has given us some of the greatest Star Trek characters ever. It has definitely given us one of the most important things we've ever gotten. And like I feel like lore wise, Voyager is so fucking important for one particular reason.
What's that?
The EMH.
What is that again? Because I don't know if I've gotten to it.
The Doctor.
Oh yeah, okay. Oh yeah, I forgot that that's what he's called.
Well, yeah, well, you're still in. He's just the EMH where you're at. So I'm trying to stick to your logic.
You know, they did call him that. I just forgot that that was what he was called. Because when I
Yeah,
heard
but
EMH, I thought of Earth's Mightiest Heroes, the Avengers cartoon.
nah, because he's just the emergency medical hologram that's been running constantly for insert long period of time.
Well, yeah, by the time, because I know he comes back in Starfleet Academy, and
Well, okay, I'll put it this way. He comes back in multiple series. He is in fucking a lot of things, but he also he has a couple reasons that his experiences are much more than what you think they are.
I can't get into TNG or any other Trek for some reason. I love TOS and can't get into anything else. You know what your problem is? You didn't watch the TOS movies yet. If you watch those will ease you into the newer form of TV represented by Next Gen and the others.
It's hard for me. I didn't start on TOS like that. I always have found it to be the campy old school.
Well, it is. And that's why it's so different from Next Gen and shit. So that's why you need the movies. The movies serve as a really good transition between campy old school and oh shit, we actually have a budget now.
Fair. I guess I
Like when I started watching Next Gen, I joked you can tell they had a higher budget on Next Gen because you can actually see the ceiling.
fair. I think I'd have a harder time if I watched TOS first though.
Yeah, well, in classic TV viewer form, I was introduced to Star Trek by catching random episodes on TV.
As it should be. And by Seth MacFarlane's incessant references.
Actually, I got into Star Trek before I started watching Family Guy. Like, just by coincidence. I think it's the characters. I love Bones so much. The newer characters don't seem to be written the same on purpose, obviously. Yes, in fact, the replacement Doctor in season 2 of Next Gen, they are very clearly trying to emulate Bones with her, and it doesn't work as well as it does with Bones.
Yeah, it sucks with their gruff attitude. Like, shut up.
Pulaski did grow on me a bit as the season went on, but she's definitely nowhere near as good a character as Dr. Crusher, so I was really happy to see Crusher come back.
I think if you're looking for characters, skip to either DS9 or Voyager. And I mean, let's get into the Voyager characters. Could that pop up?
Yeah.
The big picture.
Yeah, the problem is all the ones I'm finding have 7 of 9 in them, even though she's not introduced till later. But this includes almost everyone who's relevant.
Doug, you're talking about Picard. I think it's fine to have a picture of 7 and 9 on the screen.
Come on, fucker. Nope. You're really not going to let me make this fucking picture bigger?
You pick the small one. It's 375 by something.
Yeah, I know. Fucking hell.
Well, click a good picture.
Yeah, let's see what we got. Oh, this is the other character I was looking for.
Yes.
Yeah.
You really like the small ones, huh?
Well, what I like is triple. Yeah, there we go. It's not very high res, but it'll do for this.
Jesus Christ, how many fucking pixels you want to give us, 4?
Well, I was trying to do the triple tap to enhance, and it never fucking works, even though it's supposed to.
I'm just saying, bro. Like, her forehead was already big enough. With this few pixels, it just looks like she's in a goddamn. I don't even know.
True. Here, let me find a better one.
It looks like she's from Code Lyoko.
Oh my god, you're right.
She that's the level of forehead she's showing. Is Code Lyoko levels of forehead.
Is this one gonna be? Oh, here we go. There's a better one. Finally, Jesus. Fuck you, Google. Isn't it so cool how Google doesn't work at all anymore?
I mean, you can also just do the advanced image search like the old days.
Well, yeah, and it's ultimately what I had to do. But like 10 years ago, if I just clicked images and clicked the first one, it would pop up high res. Anyway, yeah, this is the season 1 era cast of Voyager. This lady eventually gets replaced with 7 of 9, but other than that, the cast stays pretty much the same.
No. That's not a good way to put that.
Yeah, she doesn't get literally replaced, but eventually she leaves and
eventually
7 of 9.
Get rid of the annoying girl. Is what it really is. She's just annoying. And then we have some time without her.
I hated Code Lyoko as a kid because it got in the way of Codename Kids Next Door. True. I fucking loved Codename Kids Next Door when I was a kid.
Who's your favorite member?
I'm going to be cliche and go with number 1.
What about number 5?
She's great, too. See, that's the thing. I love all the fucking characters.
I mean, I was not a big number 4 kind of guy.
Yeah, I mean, I'd need to rewatch again to, like, really... Yeah, number 3, I'm not shocked. For you, I'm not fucking shocked at all.
I was thinking we were going to get a number 3 from the comments.
Yeah. So anyway, before I haven't rewatched Codename Kids Next Door in a while, so I'd need to remind myself. But yes, I remember the characters being great.
Remind you? How? What do you mean? 1's the man, 2's the tech, 3's the monkeys, 4's the punch, and 5 is the cool.
No, I remember the basics, but like I'd want to go back and rewatch properly because then it's like, oh, the side characters, you know, number 365, all that. Number 0 from the movie. So hang on, I wrote all the notes that I wanted to make note of.
And yellow and green and blue. Rainbow monkeys, we love you. That'll be such a good.
So I have a whole notes thing here of everything I wanted to write. And there's two things I'll bring up right now just because there's no good place to throw them in. Music is absolutely fucking gorgeous in this show.
Oh, so good.
I mean, the music's pretty good in all the Star Trek shows, but like, and not that like Deep Space Nine's theme isn't also gorgeous, but Voyager's is a different kind of gorgeous. It makes sense because the theme was written by the guy who did the original movie's theme.
So yeah, who's your
favorite character?
Yeah.
After only 3 episodes, well, really 2, but the first one's double length. So 3 episodes effectively. I really like what?
You can do top 3 if you want.
I really like Janeway and I really like Paris. I like what little I've seen of Tuvok as well, but he's only had supporting roles in these episodes.
There.
I like Chakotay a lot, honestly.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, he's a little like he's very straight-laced and kind of unemotional, but like the notion of bless you, of like Maquis ship captain having to be first officer in a fleet he left years ago, like that really fascinates me.
Yeah, but like I feel like Tom Paris is the only Maquis who didn't just start sucking Starfleet dick again.
Yeah, which is bless you. And you said that to me earlier, and as I pointed out, that's really funny because he's the only former Maquis member who wasn't there for ideological reasons. He was there because he was bored, and they offered him a fight to take part in.
Well, he's there for ideological reasons if you think about it.
I mean, kind of, yeah. It's not like he disagrees with them, but he wasn't like living in the colonies waiting for an excuse. They just were like, hey, we hate these guys. And he's like, I hate them too. I'll join you.
Oh, well, no, like what I mean is like the Federation, one of the problems they have is they don't really have a funnel for like the super adventurous ones, like the ones who want to go fuck some shit up.
Yeah.
And so often they end up fucking shit up on their own or being criminals or like just doing dangerous shit. And I think Tom Paris is an example of a crack shot pilot who wanted to go to war. And Federation's like, we don't do war. And he's like, oh, well, these guys are fighting Nazis. I'm gonna just go do that.
I know I came into this late, but how do you guys rank the shows? I'm assuming you mean the shows overall and not like every individual episode.
So we're not doing that, Larry. No one ever meant that, ever.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that for a season maybe, but so I only feel comfortable ranking the ones I've finished, which is the original series, the 70s cartoon, and Next Gen. And of those 3, Next Gen is my favorite. That might change as I finish DS9 and Voyager, though.
See, I can rank TOS, TNG, Voyager, Deep Space Nine, Discovery,
Enterprise.
Yeah, thank you. I was like, I'm forgetting something. Enterprise. I didn't see animated series because I did not see a point to it.
You should. It's got some good stuff in it.
That being said, I know Lower Decks like a fucking Bible. Well, not like a Bible, but I love Lower Decks so much.
I love what little I've seen of Lower Decks. I'm excited to get to it.
Lower Decks is a fantastic show that should only be watched if you're a Star Trek fan and have seen at least 3 Star Trek series.
That's what I've heard.
Keep anyone. I just say that the show's just not made for you, and that's okay.
Well, Lower Decks, to my understanding, was the first Star Trek thing ever since 5 to acknowledge the events of 5.
The whales?
No, that's 4. 5 is the one with Spock's half-brother we'd never heard of before or since.
Oh, yes.
Because they, for years, have had an unofficial we never reference Star Trek 5 policy.
Yeah, well, Lower Decks has an official, if you put a Star Trek label on it, I can do whatever I want to touch it.
That policy apparently was strict enough that when, you remember the episode where Picard is in the elevator with the kids?
Yeah.
I love that episode, by the way, but when they're climbing the elevator shaft and they come up with like the climbing song and they ultimately settle on Frere Jacques. One of the suggestions one of the little girl makes is some kid's song called "The Laughing Vulcan and His Dog," which Picard doesn't know. And when that episode aired, or not when it aired, but like a few years later, one of the showrunners did like a fucking AOL kind of essentially an Ask Me Anything,
Yeah.
which is the source of a lot of our knowledge about Star Trek. And one of the questions was, in the episode Disaster, the little girl references a song called "The Laughing Vulcan and His Dog." Is that a reference to Cybok from Star Trek V? And he just goes, no. Like, very emphatically, it is not. Which is funny, because Star Trek V isn't even close to the worst movie that fucking franchise has produced.
To be clear, wouldn't that be a reference to the post-apocalyptic movie A Boy and His Dog?
Presumably it was, yeah. But like some fan who's only ever watched Star Trek in their fucking life.
Sorry, it's just like I feel like that's really on the nose what that one is actually like.
Well, it is, but when you're an obsessive fucking autist who literally only watches Star Trek, anytime you watch anything else, you're going to be like, I'm getting Star Trek vibes from this. Like, it's like the tweet, guy who's only ever watched Boss Baby watching his second movie. I'm getting Boss Baby vibes. It's the same way that, like, fucking, like, dumbass Star Wars fans on Twitter will see a movie where someone, like, you know, has, like, this really dramatic shot of them walking through the plains, getting ready for a fight, and they think, oh, cool, fucking Cad Bane reference, and not reference to, like, Yojimbo or whatever movie it's actually referencing.
I'm not gonna lie. I feel like somewhere along the line, that was the joke with the "Is this a JoJo's" reference?
Yeah, it was. At some point.
At some point, that was the joke. Because no, guys, it's not a fucking JoJo reference. There's other media.
But yes, to answer the question that we actually got started on, Zoe Bowie, of the three I finished, my favorite is Next Gen, but it's not impossible that might get supplanted as I finish the others.
Deep Space Nine is the god of Star Trek. Lives atop of all of it, like Cisco lives above all of us. Below that, I put Voyager. And here's the thing. There's a big fucking asterisk here. You need to remember there's going to be a lot of war crimes going on. And they're not labeled as war crimes, but you should just know as an audience member that they are.
What I will say about DS9, I don't know yet if it's better than Next Gen, but I will say the first season of DS9 was definitely better than Next Gen's first season.
Deep Space Nine knew what he was doing from the fucking jump, and I think that's important.
Yeah, well, like, not that this is the end-all be-all of what it means, but, you know, every one of these shows has an iconic episodes tab on Paramount Plus where they have, like, a selection of 10 really famous episodes. Notable that DS9 has a season 1 episode in its iconic episodes tab. TNG sure as fuck don't.
Let's see, is it the time he punched Q in the face?
I did see that already, but no, it was the episode Duet. The second to last of season 1, where they find the Cardassian that they think is the war criminal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Voyager isn't war crimes. It's just crimes.
Yeah.
Crimes. They're just crimes.
I haven't watched enough of it yet, but I know that in order to get that ship back home, Janeway made a lot of fucking moral compromises.
She made a lot of moral compromises, and I think I'm pretty sure you brought this up to me, that there's a couple of points that she could just like have it be over. She could just fix it, and she don't.
Well, even in the pilot, she had the opportunity to use the thing to get back to the Alpha Quadrant, but it would have meant leaving a whole planet full of people to die. So she chose not to.
They weren't her responsibility.
Well, no, they weren't, but they were. That's the thing is, and I don't know if the show will get into whether or not the crew agreed with that decision, but Janeway was like, I'm not going to sentence an entire planet to death to save 140 people on the ship. Like, that's unethical.
The fucking keeper sentenced them to death.
Yeah, I'm not suggesting she was right. I'm just explaining her point of view.
Yeah, yeah, no. Like I'm not blaming you. It's just like there's many times in Voyager in which Janeway will just be like, "I'm moral grandstanding, and I don't give a fuck. I don't give a
Well,
fuck."
so this leads into something I thought was worthy of noting, and I mentioned it to you earlier. Janeway is a lot more quote unquote emotional than other captains, and I mean that as a compliment. I don't mean that she cries or whatever because she's a woman or whatever they fucking used to say on the internet back then. What I mean is that Janeway lets her emotions, good or bad, creep into her voice and behavior more.
Janeway's
Which,
not nihilist.
well, yeah, but like in this in the one I was watching earlier, she's working with Balana to try to figure out the fix for the engine,
She's like, yeah.
and rather than like listen, because Picard is very straight laced and dignified, he always sits there and he listens to the whole proposal and he mulls it over and maybe he throws something of his own in. But Janeway, like Balana's talking, and then mid sentence, Janeway goes, "And if we do that, we can use it to," like, she gets really, like, there's a lot of energy in her voice.
Kirk is a cool cowboy. Picard is an upstanding officer. Janeway's a starry-eyed dreamer.
Yeah, and Cisco, not that Cisco is not on is unemotional. Cisco's very much an emotional guy, but he's so dignified and so precise with how he talks and moves and acts that it
Cisco
doesn't.
literally, if you took the first two and put them together.
Yeah, like Cisco expresses his emotions plenty, but he never loses control of them. If he's letting some anger out, he is letting it out voluntarily with his eyes open. He never loses control of his temper.
He loves doing that thing where it's like, oh yeah, let me show you how much I'm into a thing.
Well, there's the bit I mentioned repeatedly from the
You're
pilot of DS9, but you are a gambler, aren't you, Quark?
Like I will fucking eat you.
You can tell that, like many Star Trek actors, Avery Brooks got his start doing Shakespearean theater because he talks like it.
But you can tell, unlike a lot of them, he was a lead.
Well, yeah, I said at the time, the cadence with which he speaks feels like a mix of Shakespearean actor and Malcolm X, or someone else like Malcolm X from the same era. Like the way he chooses to enunciate words, the cadence that flows through his sentence.
I would call him Machiavellian.
Yeah, but that implies evil, and I don't mean evil. I mean like
it does not imply evil. That implies a misreading.
Well, true, but when Machiavellian gets used, usually they're saying in a villainous way, even though that's not actually what it means.
And it's literally by people who have not read either The Prince or The Art of War, so they can suck my dick.
Like, yeah, it's bullshit, but
to completely answer the question, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, Next Generation, and the original series I'm going to put on the same level because they're different. They're just really fucking different.
They are
below them. Below that goes Discovery. In a whole separate branch, you're going to get Lower Decks because it just does not apply to this conversation.
Something I will say is that Next Gen, despite having a slightly rocky start, though it's nowhere, season 1 of Next Gen is nowhere near as bad as people pretend, but it had a rocky start compared to the later episodes.
It's not season 1 of Discovery.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard that. But then again, I also heard that from people who hate black people, so it could just be that.
The show didn't know the vibe.
Yeah, I remember your comment was it was still shaking off the J.J. Abrams aesthetic.
Yes, because, like, it's too fucking, like, it's trying to be grand in a way that, like, is for the fucking movie angles. It's for the, let's be the serious Starfleet. It's like,
yeah, guys, and that makes sense. Like, because not only had it been a decade since the last Trek TV show, and that was on network TV and not streaming, but also Discovery started only a year after the last J.J. Abrams movie.
Exactly. Like the aesthetic is just it just didn't know what it was doing. And then there people realized, we actually want Strange New Worlds.
I've heard pretty good stuff about that one.
Strange New Worlds is great.
I did see the clip on Twitter of the fucking karaoke singer doing Total Eclipse of the Heart in Klingon. Which I assume is from a recent episode.
I also just think it's great that at one point they had the fucking cast of Strange New Worlds do voice acting, and they had the cast of fucking Lower Decks go on Strange New Worlds as their actual actors.
Yeah, I remember seeing the stills from that.
It's it was an interesting gambit because I didn't realize until I watched it how much thought has to go into when you're making a short form series versus like a 45-minute. The difference in all of the speaking cadences is all like shifted for tone.
Yeah.
So it's really funny when you get Pike and he's almost doing like a Rick and Morty kind of cadence, you know? Haha. Like,
yeah, not that this is relevant to that, but something you've probably heard complaints about is that sometimes when channels re-air old shows, they actually increase the speed just slightly so they can fit more commercials in.
oh, what?
Yeah, like this is not true on streaming. To its credit, for all its faults, streaming almost always preserves the episode as it was originally aired, barring one or two examples contrary to that. But someone like they had the TV on because they were at their mom's house or whatever, and like an old Seinfeld was playing on like TBS or whatever. And they're like, this feels off. And then they went and looked up that literal same episode of Seinfeld from Netflix or wherever it is. And yeah, the TBS version had its speed just slightly increased. Because if they do that, they can fit like one more commercial in the block.
Like,
it was running at like times 1.05 speed rather than times 1 speed.
Seinfeld isn't funny, and he's overrated. The show's overrated.
He's a pedophile as well.
Him or Larry David?
Him. Larry David, as far as I know, is morally upstanding.
Okay, that was like, I think Larry David's cool because Curb Your Enthusiasm's fine when you take Jerry Seinfeld away and you just have the joke writer doing things.
Yeah, no, Jerry Seinfeld, when the show was on, rather infamously, like Jay Leno made a million jokes about it, Jerry Seinfeld dated a 17-year-old high school senior when he was like in his late 30s.
See, I hear jokes about this, and I just didn't know if it was like he was out at one event with a fucking child, and I didn't care enough to look into it.
No, that was like a very much an ongoing thing. I get what you're saying, because people said the same thing about Tobey Maguire, and their only evidence for it was one single photo of him talking to someone at a party with a million other people around.
Yeah, and like I just know people were into that sometimes. I'm like, I don't care enough to look into this. So
yeah,
like,
but no, Jerry Seinfeld did actually have an extended, like months-long romantic relationship with a girl fucking 20 plus years younger than him. When she was 17, that is. It's not like she was 40 and he was 60. That's one thing. But
what's the deal with these 17-year-olds?
Well, I have a meme saved on my phone that says, "What's the deal with all these sex offenders?" in the Seinfeld font, and they've got like the sex offender map of Israel.
Dog,
Oh, also, in keeping with his pedophilia advocacy, Jerry
he's a fucking
Seinfeld.
Zionist, isn't he?
Oh yeah, he's violently pro-Israel, literally violently.
Of course, he's a fucking Zionist.
Yeah, well, the other day, I guess he was at some event, and I don't know if it was a stand-up thing or what, but he was going on some fucking pro-Israeli screed that the audience was booing, and someone's comment is, "That's the worst live stage performance I've ever seen from a former Seinfeld cast member." I assume you understand what this person was referencing.
What's his name? Michael Richards yelling the hard R a couple times. Yeah. I mean, I mostly only know that from South Park once again, because like it was the whole "it's nigger guy."
F, yeah, the F'est of F's. Michael Richards had basically like a sterling reputation up till then, and he just fucking nuked it all by going crazy because one guy was annoying in the audience.
Is that what it was? I once again didn't look that deeply into it because I don't fucking care about Seinfeld, but like,
yeah, he was trying to do his performance and someone was heckling, like being slightly obnoxious, and he asked them to shut up and they didn't, and he just like flipped out and jumped to screaming the N-word at them. Like he went from 0 to fucking 60. It was insane. That was part of why it was so controversial, is because he just like out of fucking nowhere started saying it.
So was it like that guy on the plane with the Burger King crown?
Did I even see that video?
Get her off the plane. I'm
Is that a
not saying
recent?
anything that guy said, but yeah,
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
what? Yeah.
Yeah, similar.
Okay.
It also didn't help that in his big apology about it, he acted really bizarre. Like, he did it on Letterman, and it was actually like the audience laughed a few times because they thought it was a bit, and then Letterman said, "Stop laughing, this isn't funny." Like, very seriously. And then they realized, oh, this isn't a bit. Michael Richards just has no fucking clue what he's doing up here.
Oh god.
He also, not that this term is necessarily bad, but he rather infamously, for some reason, chose the term Afro-American.
Who cares?
It's not who cares. It's just funny because the whole reason I was thinking about this today is because something my mom was watching used the term Afro-American, and I thought that just makes them sound like Kramer.
I mean, it was an idea for a while.
There's nothing wrong with the term. It's just that, unfortunately, when I hear it, the first thing I think of is Kramer half-heartedly apologizing.
It's like I'll be real. People get way too onto the terms. Where like I literally had a guy describe someone else to me today as colored. But
Was he like really old?
Yeah, he was just an old dude describing a guy.
Yeah.
And so like he wasn't saying a bad thing about him. He was treating him like a man.
Yeah.
So who the fuck cares?
I remember my dad once, in my dad's typical fashion where he's kind of right, but the way he said it was really odd. We were talking about how like terms such as Negro that were once acceptable are now considered outdated, if not rude.
Yeah.
Or colored for that matter. And my dad goes, I never understood why colored fell out of favor. To me, the term colored made someone sound cool. Like it made them sound like they were really dynamic. They had some real interesting character traits. You know, they got the splash of color on them, you know?
They ruined it with the signs is the easy answer for him if he wants it.
Well, that was the thing, because he asked, it wasn't about black people specifically. I think he asked why, or maybe it was black people. I don't, there was he asked why some term was no longer acceptable. And I didn't know the answer, so my guess was I think my exact words were, I guess it was just said with a sneer too many times.
That's often the case. I mean,
yeah, because colored used to be the polite term, but I guess it just got said with a sneer often enough that they said, "Stop calling us that, please."
Well, it's that plus the fucking rewriting of race history.
Oh God, yeah, don't even get into that.
Where
Martin Luther King saved the world and was unfortunately killed by the very last racist right before he died.
Doug,
the last racist used his last bullet.
As I was watching this documentary about the all-white town in Arkansas, one of the things they referenced was, yeah, you know, Black Wall Street. It's fine when they make their own communities, and the guy's like, wasn't Black Wall Street bombed?
Yeah, that story ended rather differently. And also, white people were allowed there.
They just were not happy with prosperity.
Yeah, it was a black-owned district, mostly, but, like, white people were allowed to walk around and shop there if they chose to.
It was just black businesses taking in money, which is problematic. How dare they be ingratiated in a community type shit.
Yeah, God forbid black people live a modicum of human decency in their lives.
What's that plane attack they say to never forget?
Plane attack?
Yeah. You know, the really big plane attack on American soil that they say that I should never forget about?
Oh, fucking Charlie Kirk Day.
No. I'm talking about the bombing of Tulsa, Oklahoma, in which a fucking plane was filled with explosives and then used to bomb U.S. soil. The first time an aircraft was ever used to bomb U.S. soil.
I forgot that was the first. I knew it was one of the first. I forgot about that.
Time, yeah.
Honestly, that attack
later that year, but it wasn't against blacks. It was it was against the minor town.
Yeah.
And then we have 9/11, but they'll tell us just don't forget about that one.
Well, I remember the plane part of Tulsa, but that because it wasn't just a plane thing. When you said plane attack, I was like, what? Because I think of like the guys on the ground setting shit on fire, because that's most of what you see in the photos.
Well, because it's hard to get an old-timey photo
Yeah,
of the guy flying a plane throwing dynamite down. Like
yeah,
a fucking cartoon character, dude.
The Watchmen show had the budget to show that, but most depictions of Tulsa do not. So they usually just show the stuff going on the ground.
A plane. Like, I just want you guys to really think about, like,
yeah, it was a little like crop duster too. The motherfucker was dedicated. He was a true warrior for racism.
It's not good. Essentially, I want you to imagine being in your downtown and just like an old timey Red Baron ass propeller.
Yeah.
And a guy throwing fucking dynamite like a Looney Tunes cartoon.
Yeah.
This sounds literally cartoonish.
And I doubt he was throwing with much accuracy, so there's a decent chance he killed some of his own guys down there.
Well, I mean, it's just hit the district. That's all that matters.
Oh, I know. It's just funny because, like, I don't know. I need to make some light of this, or else it'll fucking kill me deep in my soul.
No,
so I like to picture the guy.
Deep in your soul. No, yeah, it should kill you deep in your soul, and we just gotta live with that. That's the thing. We don't get to make light every time it's something sad.
Dude, I'm so lucky I had a fucking real history teacher who like actually taught us that shit.
Oh, I just read books. My teachers didn't say shit.
Well, yeah, most of mine didn't either.
I didn't fucking have this one ready when I was in private school. Otherwise, I could have opened up a real big can of worms. I mean, I already had gotten in trouble because I got our school in like decent attention because I got to the National History Day with a project essentially saying MLK could have did better. Look at all the Malcolm X things he did, and they were not very happy with this. And I was like, well, let me give you receipts, guys. No, it gets important on both sides, but compare and contrast. And they're like, I feel like you should talk more about MLK. And I'm like, but see, the whole
I bet you do think that.
Yeah, I feel like the point of this is I already hear that too much. So we're gonna do the other part.
I wonder why not no one, but I wonder why Medgar Evers doesn't get as much attention from either side of that divide.
Do you want the actual answer?
Sure, because I don't know it.
It's about religious backing.
Yeah, that'll do it.
I mean, listen, I don't mean to throw shade at the Nation of Islam, except Elijah Muhammad. Go fuck yourself, guy. But like it was a great and powerful organization with a giant religious backbone that, I mean, that's a barrier for some people.
And was Medgar Evers Nation of Islam? I know Malcolm X was, but
well, he was. I believe he was like fucking. Hold on, I'm not speaking out on this without checking.
I'm not saying you're wrong. It's just that his Wikipedia doesn't mention it at the forefront like it normally would. But I could believe you if you said that.
No, because he was one of those like affiliated Christians that was like not. He wasn't big into the co-opting movement that ended up taking over the March on Washington. So the Christian side didn't give him a ton of play, is I think the best way to describe that situation. I mean, hell, you barely get any coverage for John Lewis, and like that's really only because he served as a fucking senator. Or was it senator or congressman?
I forget. It doesn't matter. Same Congress, either way.
Yeah.
School didn't even teach about Fred Hampton, really. I had to learn about him on my own.
Oh, well, yeah, they're not doing that. They're definitely not doing that.
My good history class did teach a bit about him and the Black Panthers, but because it was honors history, it was really fast-paced for everything, so we didn't get to spend a ton of time on it just because we didn't get to spend a ton of time on any one subject. Now
Fred
listen
Hampton
to this.
The least taught about civil rights leader.
This I did not know about Medgar Evers. Regularly, he was followed home by a police car and at least 2 FBI cars, and on the morning of his death, they were suspiciously absent.
Wow.
There has been
Yep.
speculation that many members of the police force at the time were members of the Klan. Oh, you don't say.
No way. There's never been a crossover between those two
I'm
groups.
floored, man. I gotta fucking lie down.
Hold on. Someone needs to call the guys who do the Superman radio show and tell them about this.
Honestly, the thing I always think of with Medgar Evers is that he, in George Carlin's famous bit about how they assassinate anyone who advocates for peace, Medgar Evers is one of the many names listed in his list.
Wasn't Gandhi in his list?
Maybe. I mean, frankly, like, he's not talking about the ethics of every person on that list. He's just talking about people who advocated for peace in general.
I just don't think Gandhi even advocated for peace. He literally advocated for his country splitting in half because he couldn't come to a fucking compromise with these people.
Yeah, don't worry. Yeah, Gandhi has his Gandhi had his demons. I'll put it that way.
So Gandhi was a demon, bro.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Inferior race, Gandhi. Put that shit on his tombstone.
Anyway, before we go tonight, let's actually finish our discussion about Voyager. Speaking of black people, Tuvok.
Speaking of black people, Tuvok, bro, I think it should be said. I really appreciate how they gave the black guy the upstanding role where he's not gonna have his like leadership questioned every 5 minutes, and it's not gonna be like a problem.
Yeah, actually, of everyone in this this thing here, this image here, Tuvok is the only person who is I'm trying to think how to phrase this accurately, because Harry Kim is also officially there, but it's his first assignment. So Tuvok is literally the only person here whom he and Janeway knew each other before starting this fucking mission. Frankly, Tuvok should almost be first officer, really, in terms of how close his relationship is to Janeway.
I specifically remember it. I mean, I could be misremembering it, but I remember it being a sign of getting the Maquis to come was giving Chakotay the job.
Well, that is it, and it's also just the fact that before resigning, Chakotay held a much higher rank than Tuvok.
Who gives a fuck?
Well, yeah, who gives a fuck, but that does help, because in this episode I watched today, when he's trying to convince Janeway to let B'Elanna be chief engineer, and she's like, I'm reluctant to let a Maquis person have such a key job, and he says, well, what about me? You let me be first officer? And she replies, yes, but you're an academy graduate who served years on starships. You have way more qualifications than she does.
Dude, B'Elanna Torres is that fucking dude.
Well, yeah, and then at the end of the episode, she realizes that and gives her the job. But she doesn't know B'Elanna yet, because this is only the 3rd episode of the show. But
B'Elanna Torres is annoying sometimes, but I like her.
Well, that's the nature of characters on TV who have more than 1 or 2 writers. They're always annoying sometimes.
Yeah, that's exactly. I can't blame her for that.
Like, that's why I always like Picard with the crack planet, or Spider-Man yelling at the fucking college protesters, or The Question whipping out his Randian bullshit. It's just, that's the thing, is when you have a character written by that many writers, eventually someone writes them wrong, but we're stuck with it because it's never made non-canon.
Picard does that shit all the time. Let's not play that one off. I mean, that's more just in line with the character and his views, the Prime Directive. He does that shit later, too.
More so, yeah. Or like the time in the 80s that Batman just fucking locked a motherfucker in a tomb and left him to die. Yeah, it's what happens when you have writer, or the whole waterbending scroll episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Everyone acts out of character in that episode because it was written by a guy who'd never written the show before.
Yeah.
Like, everyone in that episode acts wrong.
Or like, the entirety of Korra after the first episode.
Yeah, fuck you. I like Korra.
Bro, okay, me and my buddy were talking about this the other day. I think the more I go on, the more I'm like, it's just so badly handled. And
Yeah,
specifically the fumble with Amon.
I know.
Fumble with Amon, bro. Do you understand how cool? Okay, I I just want to pitch to you. You're like mid fucking season 3, and like you're just going through your Avatar adventures, and you're like, we haven't heard much from the Kyoshi Warriors. Let's go see what they're up to. And so you show up to the island, and there's a whole school of motherfuckers learning chi bending by a masked motherfucker in the corner. Are you telling me that you're not already like in
Yeah.
the yeah, dude, I'm sorry that you fumbled that shit because you could have had him like traveling around setting up an anti-bender army and shit instead of just hanging out in Republic City throwing fucking rallies.
Is it really? I hadn't played it, or I hadn't heard anything about it. But
Dog, I've heard some interesting things. There's some different fight modes for each character that are very different. Like I know Azula has if you have like her mother as a support character, she's constantly in fucking rage mode. So like her offense is dope, but her defense is trash and her health is bad or something like that.
so I have a few more thoughts that I wrote down on my thingy. So first of all, you can tell that this is when Star Trek really started putting all their eggs in the CGI basket.
Oh yeah.
It's not it's not that great, but just given how frankly poorly preserved the episodes are, it doesn't stand out that bad. And if they ever got a remaster, they'd zhuzh up the effects a little like they did for next gen. So but yeah, like you can tell that this like, oh shit, we can make a CGI model of the ship now. Let's do that a bunch. It doesn't really whatever. I like that the ship has warp nacelles that move positions. They kind of look like the S foils on an X-wing from Star Wars.
Huh, that's true.
It's not that cool. It's not that interesting. It's just kind of cool. Something I noticed. I don't know if this is intentional or if they're going to do something with this, but did you notice that the Maquis officers have different rank pips on their collars than the Starfleet officers do?
Huh.
Can you see that in this photo? Not really because of the shadows, but oh yeah, there. Yeah, see, notice how Chakotay's is like a single pin and not a series of pins.
Huh.
Frankly, that might be kind of a bad idea in terms of like getting the crew to get to gel together,
but you can't abandon your Maquis identity because we actually fight Nazis.
Well, yeah, that was probably a compromise on Janeway's part. I'm sure she had to do a lot of fucking like jockeying to get them to agree to wear Starfleet uniforms.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, so two things left. One is the fact that I like the premise of the show overall because like
Right.
it's so different, and also because the fact that they're like really on their own the way they are, it kind of reminds me of TOS a little.
Yes.
Because
it definitely they're trying to reboot.
Yeah, and not that I'm complaining at all about TNG, because this is great environmental storytelling to show how much technology's advanced in the last 100 years, but in TNG, you always kind of feel like in an emergency they could get backup. It might take a few days, but they could do it.
Exactly.
Whereas in TOS, like, not in every episode, granted, but in many episodes of TOS, it really does feel like, oh, they're just on their fucking own.
They're just in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah. Well, even in Next Gen, I don't know how this has been updated by later material, but in one of the early Next Gen episodes, Wesley says that they've only charted 19% of the galaxy.
Oh, that's vastly different post Voyager and DS9. Yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah, because the Delta Quadrant and the Gamma and everything. But anyway, my point is that even in their home quadrant, like, they've charted a relatively small amount of the galaxy.
Yeah.
Which is because you always wonder, like, if Starfleet's been around forever, how are they still meeting new aliens? Do you know how fucking big space is?
Plus, they're pretty fraidy cat. They slowly do things.
True. And not to mention the whole Prime Directive, like they probably encounter 1 million aliens that they just note for later when they've got warp drive.
Starfleet's got human muscle, but it's got a backbone of Vulcans.
It does, yeah. I forget the whole list of founding members because it's been a while since I saw Enterprise, but I know Earth and Vulcan were both founding members.
Tell I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know.
I think the Tellarites and the Andorians were the other two,
Literally,
according to
that's
a
not
thing
what
I saw the
I
other
want to
day.
say Tellarite, but I don't.
Actually, I know that the Andorians were there because what's his name, Shran? He was like a recurring character in Enterprise.
Okay, yep.
I think the fourth were the Tellarites. So yeah, I like how on their own they are, and then I also, this isn't so much about Voyager, it's just something I noticed. So
What is it?
when after I watched the pilot, I was reading the Wikipedia for it, and they were talking about critic reviews at the time and since. And one of the critic reviews, I think recently, mentioned that having a big godlike entity that the crew encounters in the pilot is kind of a Star Trek cliche. And then I was like, wait, is it really? And then I went through up to the point I'm at, meaning Voyager and everything before. Literally every pilot episode of Star Trek was about an alien with insanely powerful godlike abilities of one form or another.
That's classic.
Both TOS pilots were. Even the cartoon one was, because the cartoon one, they go up against this, like, some kind of entity. It's not as godlike as some of the others, but it's definitely way more powerful than them. Next Gen's pilot is about Q. DS9's pilot is about the Prophets. Hell, if we're including the movies as a quote TV series, the first movie was also about a godlike alien.
Fuck.
I mean, I don't really mind that. In a galaxy so fucking big, it makes sense that all kinds of crazy aliens would be around. It's just funny that I'd never noticed that every pilot had that.
Like, it's not that weird. It's just really fucking funny.
Well, see, I said this when I watched it, but I'm going to say it again just to be safe because it's really important to me. So the first Star Trek movie, the motion picture, has, even today gets kind of shat on undeservedly because people are stupid and they don't understand what a Star Trek movie is.
I do have to run, but
That's fine. So do I. And they jokingly, do you remember the episode with the Nomad probe?
Yes.
They jokingly call the movie Where Nomad Has Gone Before because V'ger is kind of the same plot as Nomad. But I really love that. I think that that's a feature, not a bug. And here's why.
Mm-hmm.
Because the first Star Trek movie had an enormous budget. I think it was like $50 million in '70s dollars. Like, it was a huge budget. Part of why they agreed to make Wrath of Khan is that Nicholas Meyer promised he could do it with way less money.
I see.
Which it helps that with the first movie, you can then just reuse all the sets. So you don't have to build new sets every movie.
What's the Wrath of Khan? It's the Wrath of Khan.
Oh, yeah, Wrath of Khan, as Red Letter Media pointed out, for better or worse, Wrath of Khan defined what a Star Trek movie looks like. Because every movie since has been trying to emulate Wrath of Khan. Some successfully, some not.
Yeah.
But the first movie has basically no action scenes in it. Literally the only time they fire a weapon in the whole movie is when they fire one photon torpedo to disrupt the hole that's sucking them in. Star Trek the Motion Picture is almost entirely philosophy and slowly panning through space and slowly learning shit, which is why it's so fucking good. Because people complain when it comes out, and I'm like, you asked for a movie of Star Trek. What did you expect that to look like?
You know what they wanted.
I know what they wanted, but they're fucking stupid and wrong, and that's why I don't respect them.
Yeah, but
I mean, like you said earlier, George R.R. Martin's attitude to the fans is, I don't give a fuck what you want. I'm writing the story.
And that's what they should be.
It
should be.
I once said to one of my friends, or I wasn't saying it to him, I was just ranting in his presence. I said, this writer's room is not your personal Auschwitz.
Bro.
I stole that line from The Boys. Anyway, so the reason I think it's a feature, not a bug, that the motion picture has basically the same plot as one of the episodes is because the motion picture, due to its massive fucking budget, conveys the scale so well. First of all, how fucking big the Enterprise is, and then second, how insanely fucking big V'ger is. The V'ger entity, not the probe in the center.
Yeah.
And so when I was watching that episode, and by the way, I was really fucking stoned when I watched this movie, so that's why I thought of this. But at the end, when they reveal that it's just the same plot as Nomad, I was like, that's genius. Because this movie really hammers home how big these stakes are and how the entire universe is fucked if Kirk doesn't save the day.
Larry,
And
you're
then,
so right, but we're talking Voyager, and I gotta go.
I know, I'm almost done. So you watch that and you're like, oh man, they're really fucked if Kirk doesn't save the day. And then when you realize it's Nomad again, you go, oh my god, every single one of their previous adventures could have been this big a deal if it had been allowed to escalate.
Yeah.
It retroactively makes the original show feel bigger and better.
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah, it's a fucking amazing movie, and anyone who doesn't like it is stupid and wrong. Anyway.
But we will talk more Voyager on Thursday.
Yeah, actually, by Thursday, I'll have been, because I'm doing it in air date order, I have one more Voyager to watch, and then I can go back to DS9, and then I can flop between the two every day. The next DS9, by the way, not that we had to talk about it much, because there's not much to say other than it's fucking great, but the past tense Bell Riot's two-parter was great.
Oh, fucking so good. But, dude, I'm so down to talk about this, but I do gotta run just because something came up.
Before you go, you haven't seen the Gremlins movies, have you?
I saw the first one.
You should see the second because it's great. But because the past tense episode both has Dick Miller, who was in both Gremlins movies, and has Jadzia wearing a outfit and hairstyle very similar to Phoebe Cates' outfit and hairstyle from Gremlins 2, I kept thinking, and it was only a few years later. What?
No Electric Boogaloo. No Electric Boogaloo.
No, Gremlins 2 is a great movie because it's the same director making fun of the previous movie and like basically taking it into parody territory, and it's really good.
Fine, I'll check it out.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all I have to say about Gremlins 2. Anyway, I'm loving Voyager, excited to see more of it. In the meantime, fucking like the stream, subscribe to the channel, turn on bell, whatever, clean your butt because you never know how you're gonna need to use it.
Don't turn on the bell rides. Do turn on yourself.
Yeah, that's true. What else is there to say about the Bell riots? I don't know. If you see a guy in a cowboy hat, I guess limit your trust in him.
Free Palestine. If you don't support stopping genocide in 2026, you probably wouldn't stop it in 41. Stop kidding yourself.
As Ta-Nehisi Coates once said, if you can't draw the line at genocide, why should I believe you can draw the line at preserving democracy?
Literally, bro. Y'all were fine supporting a bunch of politicians who were talking about AIPAC, but as soon as people got involved in being anti-Israel, then it's not our business to stick our fucking nose in. Come on, let's be real here, folks. I'm just saying.
I am proud to say that, to my knowledge, I have never voted for an AIPAC-affiliated candidate. Unless one of them had affiliations I don't know about, but, you know.
Only pack I need is a pack of gas. Good night, folks. Bye.
Good night, everybody.